You're listening to the N.W.A, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Yo, it's Righteous Reg. It's a case for the safe, keep a space for the Nubians. Unfiltered, off-kilter, the professor, the godfather, host wrestling the N.W.A, not keep guessing, The views and expressions, you know the rest, it's pod excellence, get the message. Advocates for Nubian wrestling, you're listening to the best again. Black wrestling in the ring we invested in. Nubian kings and queens we invested in. It's for the culture and we reppin' it. It's for the culture and we reppin' it.
And welcome to the NWA Podcast, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, the show all about getting color in the professional wrestling business. We are back and better than ever for our November episode of the Kings of Sport Podcast. Want to send a happy holidays out to all of the postmarks out there, man. Hope everybody is safe in America this week. We hope everybody's safe all over the world, Kris, but I'm talking about in terms of celebrating Thanksgiving. We hope everybody is safe, all of our American postmarks, man. Have fun with the friends and the fam and enjoy all that. And, we going to keep it moving. But speaking of keep it moving, we got a big show. We got a big show with not one, Kris, not one, Andrew, but two special guests who, not to get in our TK bag, but we have a Blockbuster announcement tonight, Andrew. So we want everybody to stay tuned for that here on the Nubian Wrestling Advocates. But before we get into any of that, before we get into our topics, before we introduce our guests, we got to let you know who we are. We are, of course, the Advocates. I am the Godfather, Nate Milton, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster, 10 years in the game. And guess what? Ain't a damn thing changed. And I am joined by my right-hand man. Some people call him Moderna Kris. Some people call this man Mimosa Kris. He is the angry intellectual. He is the mayor pro tem of Los Angeles, California. He is still recovering from that big after party last night. with everybody in AEW coming to his neck of the woods. Y'all give it up for this man. You know him, you love him. The black sheep of post wrestling, the Professor Chris Ealy. Can we rock? What's up, Doc?
Hey, what's up, yo? I wish I would have went to Full Gear last night, but I just wasn't in a good mood. I'm still hot from last month's show. Dealing with a bunch of Twitter dweebs like coming for me, and I don't appreciate that, man. Like there's a way you can confront me and everything is copacetic. When you start we'll talk about it as the show goes on, I suppose.
This man Kris out here, he said he ain't got time for y'all foolishness out there, man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But a brother who certainly doesn't have time for foolishness because he is one of the hardest working brothers in the game right now. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for the nephew, the youngest in charge, the man who is one half of the late great Bushby and Thompson's Wrestling Adventure Show. We gonna keep plugging that, Andrew. I think we're gonna plug that every week, man. See if we can get them Bushby and Thompson numbers up. Maybe we can get the revival going. Y'all can have a comeback tour. But y'all give it up for the nephew, Andrew Thompson.
What's going on, man? I'm always a pleasure to be here. Always excited to do the show. But like you said, Nate, the focus ain't really on us, man. We have two blockbuster signers, if you will. Forget any assignment that Tony Khan got lined up, any announcement he got lined up, but with WWE got lined up. We got two blockbuster announcements of our own, and those blockbuster announcements will be making their own blockbuster. Now look at that.
That's how you do it, right? You make an announcement so then the announcement can make an announcement about an announcement that they got coming up. That's how you keep people invested on these wrestling streets.
Small business right there, man. Small business.
So we do have two special guests, man. The first guest, I'm gonna bring him on. He is back, y'all. It's kind of like, you remember that Simpsons episode with Stan Lee, Kris?
Yeah.
Stan Lee's at the comic book guy's shop, and then the next day Bart comes back to the comic book shop, and he's like, "Oh wow, Stan Lee came back," and comic book guy's like, "Stan Lee never left."
Yeah,
that's how I feel about this brother right now, because they've been trying to push him out the door, Andrew. They've been trying to kick him out. This man,
what up, Kris?
This man is on the middle of the longest 10-day contract in the history of professional sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Y'all give it up for this man, Raymondo Williams, a.k.a. Rookie Ray, a.k.a. the #1 black edgehead in the game, a.k.a. 10-Day Ray. You think you know
on there? I am. I like that.
Throw it up, Ray. Throw it up, Ray. Throw him up.
Gotta be the
Throw
new
him up,
thing.
Nate. Throw him up, Nate. Don't hold out on us, Nate. Throw him up.
Come on.
The 10s up.
Oh, new school. It's all about you, brother.
See, here's the thing though. Like you got your little new school team down there, but as we've seen through watching years of professional wrestling, particularly in the WWE, Kris, teams don't always stick together. Teams don't always coexist. So who knows how long this little partnership on the bottom of the screen is going to last.
And I gotta make something clear. I was
Uh-oh.
not arguing anybody's opinion last month. If you like Night One's main event better, that is not something I can tell you is wrong or right.
Hey, man.
It is a fact that Night Two is the main event.
Hey, bro, they was whooping Kris. They was whooping Kris' ass in some of them comments, bro. I was like, God damn, buddy.
Yeah. It's like I like that. Like I'm not like your opinion is your opinion. I'm a researcher by trade.
He said he's dealing with facts.
I do not. Yeah, I don't like if you've got an opinion like me and when we were arguing, like I think it was Drew McIntyre and Big Boss Man. Those are two opinions. That's one thing, and we could give facts based on what our opinions are to back up our opinion. Night 2 being the main event of WrestleMania is a fucking fact.
Woo!
That's the end of that story. I'm not arguing that. That is how it is.
Hey Ray, it sounds like somebody's a little bothered.
I'm a lot bothered. Dang. I'm like,
say it with your chest, Kris.
I'm like, what are we doing here, man? I'm not trying to tell you if you like the Night 1 match better than Night 2, that is your prerogative. That is cool.
Hey, hold on. Hey,
tell you not to do that.
Hey, bro, it's the fact that.
Yeah,
boy, this take that Kris been holding it, that shit was sizzling in his stomach like a fajita.
He been holding on to this for the last month.
I've been holding on to it for 3 weeks. I've been holding it 3 weeks since I've been holding on to it.
That thing been sitting on his stomach like a sizzling fajita.
Just simmering, marinating.
Like after he was like, I cannot wait. You knew what he was doing, Kris, before we got on the show. Kris was probably sitting in the dark, his lock character mode. He was like, wait till this show starts.
I got something for they ass, Alexa.
I got some shit coming. He's like, just wait, they don't even know a watch. So as soon as the show started, you just see the light flicker. That's all you see.
Alexa, lights on.
Hey, Ray, the fucking silhouette of Kris, like just sitting there back in the back like the final boss.
He been plotting for a month. Yo, you know what's crazy, ladies and gentlemen? We ain't even 10 minutes into the show. We ain't even introduced our second guest, and this is the kind of energy, shall we say, that we coming with this month. Kris, we gonna let you calm down for a bit because we do have one more special guest to bring to the people this week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a guest we've been trying to get back on the show for a little minute. And it's because she's busy, Andrew. She one of the top writers in the game right now when it comes to this combat sports, when it comes to this MMA, when it comes to this pro wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from South Africa. So I don't want to hear nobody complaining, by the way, if this show goes 3 hours. The show, why was the show so long? I couldn't stay up all night and watch the show. You don't have any excuse. I don't care if you got to go to work in the morning. I don't care if you got small kids and Swerve Strickland trying to come in and kidnap your kids. Ain't no excuses for not being able to last through the show because our guest here is coming to us from South Africa. It is 3:00 in the damn morning. and she's going to be rocking with us all so long. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up. You know her, you love her. It's been far too long since we talked to her. Welcome back to the NWA Podcast, the one, the only, Chinyere Okafor.
What's up? Hey.
She back, y'all. She back.
Let's go.
TT,
For having me.
how are you? It's been too long since we've talked to you last.
I've been great. How have you guys been? You know, I miss being around all of this energy, honestly.
We've been good. We've been, excited for this. And it's interesting, real quick. I was going to save this for a little bit later, but I figure, things change, Ray. You know how quickly some things can change in your life. Like, for instance, you and Andrew, like a minute ago, y'all was all buddy. But now the tables have turned, the positions have switched, the planets have realigned, and the new bloods, they no longer on the same level. Andrew came up to the main event. And there's a reason why we got Ray and Chinyere together on the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to give you a little announcement, a little tease for something that's to come next month in December. It is my pleasure to announce that the Kings of Sport podcast is launching its very first, I don't know what you would call it, Andrew. Is it a spinoff? Is it a
one-on-one? It's one-on-one because it's only one in chat. It's only one Chinyere. It's only one Ray. So it's one-on-one.
It's one-on-one.
No spinoffs.
No spinoffs, no sequels, no reboots. But it is the first show on the Kings of Sport podcast network that will not be hosted by either myself, Kris, or Marcus. It is the first time we passing the rock to the younger generation. We ain't holding nobody down. Ladies and gentlemen, starting in December on the Kings of Sport podcast, you will be able to hear these two great people on the bottom of your screen right now if you're watching, Ray Williams and Chinyere Okafor, as they give their takes and thoughts on the world of combat sports, talking MMA, talking boxing, talking all of the above, the business side, the personal side, the racial side. Sometimes they're gonna be bringing it to you on a show called, and y'all gonna love this name, because when Ray told me last week what the name was gonna be, I was like, you know what, I can't even with you, Rookie Ray. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your hands up. Bob and weave, because coming this December, the Kings of Sport present the Spinning Black Fist podcast with Ray Williams and Chinyere Okafor.
Thank you.
Yay.
Spinning Black Fist coming to your podcast feeds. Ray, I will let you go first on this one because this was something low-key. Ray been trying to get this off the ground for a little minute. Like just whispering in my ear like a little Tweety bird. Like, Nate, I know a little bit about combat sports. If you ever wanted to do a show about that, Ray been telling me this for like the last 10 years.
Was that a Ray impression right there?
That
was?
That was my Ray impression right there. But Ray, in all seriousness, man, like this is something that you are passionate about, and I'm excited to be able to give you and Chinyere the rock and let y'all run with this. So any thoughts about the upcoming show? Again, we don't have no dates, we don't have no time frames and nothing like that. We ain't got a logo to show you. It's just a pre-announcement before we give you the real announcement in a couple weeks. But Ray, any thoughts on Spinning Black Fist?
Well, first, I do want to thank you, Nate, and thank you, Kris, everybody at the Kings of Sports Network that's given us the opportunity to share this. And I just thought that with the way you guys have been given, and I love how you use this word, and it's always been a word that I've been trying to think of, but always like focus down on other words, but you had the perfect word. I think it was a couple NWA shows ago when you said Afrocentric, and you guys always give a great Afrocentric perspective of pro wrestling, and I think that that's something that we do need in combat sports as a whole as well, especially with MMA, mixed martial arts. It's just something that is really a need, I think, that hasn't been truly realized by anybody just yet. You do have people who are people of color who are working in that space. Andreas Hell is a perfect example, who is still trying to, go ahead and give his own perspective of the sport that he loves, but from the culture point of view. And we feel that this is people like him that crawled so that me and Chinyere could walk. And I'm just so elated to be able to share this with Chinyere. I just see like the writing that she's doing and her reaching out with the different podcasts and the different media spots that she's been doing as well. So I actually feel underqualified compared to her, but I'm going to do my best. And I just thank you guys for the opportunity. As far as the name, I thought it might have been a little bit too on the nose, but I'm glad that you guys like it, and hopefully it catches on. And yeah, it's coming soon to podcast streaming near you. So
yeah, we see you out there, Jason. It is a great name. And here's the thing, Ray, about the name, because yes, it could be a little too on the nose, but I think the sign of a good name for any podcast is it's something that you hear it the first time, you're like, huh, that's kind of cool. That's neat. And then you think about it a little bit more, and you're like, nah, I don't think that's gonna work. And then you think about it another time, Ray, and you're like, nah, that's it. That's it. And that's when you told me that name, I thought about it when you first said it. I'm like, huh, that's kind of clever. Sat on it the next day. I was like, I don't know. It might be a little too specific. But then the day after that, I was like, nah, it's got to be spinning blackfist like that. and like the logo, Kris, I don't even the logo, but I'm envisioning like the black fist with the MMA glove around it, like just spinning black fist. Bro. Like Chinyere, like again, you were the first person when Ray brought the idea to me. I was like, it would be dope if I know Chinyere's busy and like again, she's on a whole nother time schedule than we are. But if we can make it work scheduling wise, we got to get Chinyere in on this because she's dope, and we've been wanting to have more opportunities to work with and collaborate with Chinyere. So, any thoughts, real quick, on the show that you and Ray gonna be leading here in December?
Oh man, I'm so excited actually. Hey, I'm always happy to be in more combat sports spaces. For one, it's one of those things where I'm always just part of like the Kings of Sports space, type of thing. And it's always like really, really great to be with you guys. And now for me to actually find myself in a space where I get to talk about not just wrestling, but also just other combat sports, because I feel for pro wrestling, we have managed to integrate and make it more Afrocentric and include more of our voices. But in MMA, for example, that hasn't really come through. And so it's a really great idea. And I'm so grateful that Ray has actually been following me and keeping up with me, because, sometimes it can feel a bit like, you're a bit out of the loop, especially being in a whole different time zone and a whole different continent. But you guys have always kept me in your minds and your hearts. And I've always seen the support, and I've always felt the support from you guys. So I'm very, very grateful. And I'm so excited for the show.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. Go ahead, Nate. I'm sorry.
I was going to say real quick, first of all, shout out to our guy T. Anthony. Full day, Ray. You love to see it. I ain't going that far. You still on this 10-day contract, Ray. I ain't going that far. But yeah, Kris, to your point, I'm going to toss it to you. I feel like this is something that, things happen when they're supposed to happen. Like, honestly, I would have loved for this show to have happened 3 years ago, because that's something you and me have always talked about, is how can we kind of expand the tent and give other people, opportunities, not just because we love their voices, but also because you and me can't do everything, Kris. We ain't got the time, brother. But just to see Chinyere and Ray and their excitement makes me excited. So, this is something good for the Kings of Sport here, Kris.
Yeah, it is something good, and I'm glad we're doing it. And also, Andrew's like,
why are you looking at me?
So no, but I'm like, here's the thing, because I have kind of stepped away from MMA just because I don't like Dana White and what he's been about lately. But the most important thing is when we're in this journalism space, and I don't fancy myself a journalist, but I'm in this space, and MMA needs to be covered, and people, we need to have eyes on the product. And when Dana White does something out of bounds, we can report on that. And our eyes can't be everywhere, right? So like, this is, again, we're not Kings of Sport. We're not DJ Envy on these streets. Promising, give us your money and we'll flip it with real estate and rip
I was
you
gonna
off.
say too fair though, Chris. I like if anybody needs a mortgage, guys, sometimes you got to take out that second loan, but you got to buy a house, then you can flip a house. So all you got to do is come up with enough money to buy a house, and me and Chris will help you flip it.
Yeah. We ain't doing it.
The real property brothers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to sneak that shot in, but yeah, what we do is we when you all give super chats, when you subscribe to the Patreon, what we do is take that money and put it back into the show. We do not promise to flip your money.
So I wasn't supposed to buy that PS5 with the subscription money, Craig.
Hey.
My bad, dog.
Yeah.
Let me live, man. Let me live.
Well, we use that money for accoutrements to the show. I
don't complain when you buy all that mimosa, brother. Let me live.
Right. Yeah, who am I? But yeah, that's the thing. I'm glad for spinning Black Fist. And I'm glad that and then as me and Nate, like right now, I'm just super busy, and Nate is busy too, but we fit the time in. And again, we understand the process of what we do. That's why we've been doing it for so long. We're not trying to like be overnight like trillionaires, We're trying to do this the right way, and give content the right way. And I'm glad we got Chinyere and Ray to do this show, and hopefully we could grow it into something. And that's the beauty of what we do here, right? Is just we get the chance to take something and grow it and see what we can do with it, right?
I think part of the mission, Chris, that you and I have talked about, and also when me and Marcus, and Redacted, started this back in the day. Part of the goal was always eventually to open the doors. And it shouldn't just be like me having a voice or you having a voice or Mark having a voice. It doesn't mean anything if we don't let our brothers and sisters have their chance to shine. And so, again, I feel like the more voices we can have, particularly in a space like MMA, I feel like MMA is kind of like where wrestling journalism was 10 years ago. Where it kind of needs a shakeup, and it kind of needs some fresh voices and some new voices and some younger voices and voices of color. And female voices to get in on the conversation and talk about these sports and these athletes, and just kind of not only what happens from bell to bell, but also what goes on around the sport, the business of sport, the politics of sport. And so I'm excited to see what kind of show Ray and Chinyere put together. So y'all, just I know we're gonna get to the wrestling here in a second, but we did want to off the top let y'all know what we have cooking coming up next month. The Spinning Black Fist podcast, y'all. Make sure you subscribe to the Kings of Sport right now, because really to echo Chris's sentiments, what I want to do for people like Ray and Chinyere and others that we talking to is kind of what John and Wade do for me and Chris and Andrew and Kate and Bruce and W.H. Park and Rich Fan and Karen Peterson and Braden and Davey and Martin Bushby and the whole crew. You don't grow something by keeping it insular, You grow something by letting other people paint on the canvas. And so that's what we're trying to do with Ray and Chi-Chi, and we think y'all gonna dig it. But Andrew, speaking of stuff that people may have digged or may not have dug, that's the past tense of dig. Last night, there was a big show in Chris's backyard, man.
There was. Hey, real quick on that, Nate. Before we get into AEW Full Gear, we had a quick discussion before we got into the topic of the spinning back fist, and I'm very, very excited for that show. Chris had made a point, brother Nate, about this night 1, night 2 WrestleMania main event. That whole conversation. So I think it's only right, and I think Brother Ray would agree with me as well.
Don't rope Chinyere into this. Don't do it, Andrew.
I think it's only fair if we ask Chinyere for her opinion, and just we need more opinions on this, right? Ray, am I right or am I right?
We need more voices.
Hey, Ray, am I right or am I right, brother?
It won't hurt. It won't hurt to hear from her.
It won't hurt to hear from her. Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So because you're moving the goalposts. You're moving the goalposts. I'm not asking which one is better.
Ray,
I'm just asking which one is the main event.
See this, Ray? You see this, Ray? I ain't even get into it yet. He's shaking in his boots already. I ain't even look. Chinyere, look, I want you to just be honest. Your personal preference. That's all I want. Your personal preference as far as what you enjoyed, the time frame in which these events occurred, right? We're gonna go back to 2020, pandemic. We all in the crib. We looking for entertainment, right? The world is in distraught. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I just want you to tell me which main event, night one, WrestleMania. Again, we all in the house. But which one did you prefer? Entertainment wise, are we looking at The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a boneyard match, or are we looking at Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE title? When you're talking about just at that time period specifically, which one were you looking forward to? The boneyard cinematic match, or were you looking forward to 2 6'6" gentlemen wrestling in a performance center full of nobody?
Honestly, for that time, I was looking forward to the boneyard match, the cinematic match.
and that was on what? Hey Ray, what night was that on, brother? What night was that on, Ray?
I believe that was day one.
Okay. No, don't jump in, Chris.
No, because you keep on changing the argument.
You said you're moving the goalposts.
Wait. I'm not.
Okay. I'm asking her for an opinion.
About that. That's
Nate,
your opinion. That doesn't
Nate,
mean that's the main event.
Oh, here you go. Nate, did I not state before I asked Chinyere this question, what is her personal preference? Did I make that very clear? Yes or yes?
Yes, you did make that clear.
Thank you.
Chinyere, but I don't think that's the question Kris was asking, though.
No. Kris is trying to go ahead, Ray. Go ahead, Ray.
I think because what I had interpreted the question from the last episode is not what was the real main event, because we obviously know the last show, no matter what night it happens on, if it's the whole event, the last show is the main event. I know that, and like it's no,
let's stop the conversation now and move on. Because that's all I was saying.
But he switched. Oh, come on.
No, said Ray vindicated him.
That's all I'm saying, man.
Hear me out, though. But Kris,
explain yourself, Ray.
Kris, where you lost me was that you said only the main stars are going to be on the last or on day 2, when we fully established, me and Andrew fully established that bigger stars can appear on day 1 on that main event as well.
He said moving the
match is the one
moving the goalpost.
He said
moving the soul post.
Moving the soul post.
I'm even looking for I'm looking for this year also, as far as like what are they going to advertise the night 1 main event? Because because my whole point was, if you're like Kevin Owens and you're trying to like big up, or you're trying to shame CM Punk for never main eventing a WrestleMania, and you main evented night 1 of WrestleMania, you main evented the show. You main evented night 1 of WrestleMania. You didn't main event WrestleMania. You main evented.
What did you call the show? What did you call the show?
You main evented night 1. Yes, you made of WrestleMania night.
Hey, so
1.
you main evented what?
Night 1. You main evented night 1.
Oh,
you did not main event the whole show. The main event is night 2. That is it. It's night 2 until WWE shows us that.
Can we go back to my initial question, and please let's get back to that.
No, there's no point of doing that. There's no point of doing that.
Just a reminder to the audience: you are listening to "Moving the Soul Post," available on
the Soul
Post. That'll be the next show, along with the main effing event.
yes. As Kris so eloquently put it last episode, it's the main effing event. So yes, I think Chinyere, my thing is, as we saw from Ray, Ray, I hope his feet aren't getting cold because he was flip flopping. He got some flip flops on. But I think they're having two conversations. Chinyere, Kris is saying night 2, the main event of WrestleMania, is the one that the company that's the one the company wants you to feel is the main event. Is that always the match that people enjoy the most? No, I think Andrew's is trying to say night 1 has kind of typically been the main event of night 1. We enjoy that; it's more memorable. Yeah, like Bianca.
I'm not even talking, bro. Just I'm not even talking about strictly just like whether it's memorable or not. I'm talking about what it is billed as. You are main eventing night 1 of this event that is called WrestleMania. Therefore, you are main eventing WrestleMania on a specific day.
They literally announced the night before that the two sisters were main eventing. They just happened to announce it. They gave it no bill, like it was the main event. They're like, by the way, Mercedes and Bianca Belair are going to be main eventing this night 1 of WrestleMania. For the longest time, I thought it was going to be Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. That's not how you build a main event, is all I'm saying. You build a main event by saying months in advance, hey, this
that bill was kind of trash.
And they did that year after year after year with night 1. They with Austin and what's his
Kevin
name?
Owens.
Kevin Owens. They didn't even announce there was going to be a match until 5 minutes before the match started. It was like they announced an interview segment, and they were like, "Oh, well, actually, I want to wrestle you." That's not like
Kris,
telling me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But you acting like with these things, you acting like the Fightfuls of the world and the post wrestlers of the world weren't already saying, "Oh, well, they're anticipating Stone Cold coming back." Oh, we know that
they said that, but they didn't say. I didn't know if Stone Cold was going to be wrestling until the show. I didn't, because I really thought it was a very good chance he was just going to do they didn't promote the interview segment. I really thought that. That is not Cape. That's what I thought.
I will jump in on this point about because I'm looking at it right now, the main events, and you talk about like the builds for it. So for the first 2-day WrestleMania back in 2020, I would say that McIntyre versus Brock, that was the better build. Looking from it from start to finish, better build. Mm-hmm. When you got Bianca versus Mercedes, and then Roman, Adam Copeland, and Danielson. I'm gonna just say Adam Copeland. Danielson and Roman, because that Bianca Mercedes feud. Like this is how I feel like they treat the big time women's matches at WrestleMania. It's like, okay, we know the matches are going to be great, so we don't got to worry about that. Just go out there and let them cook. And then for night what's the name, WrestleMania, was it at 38? Roman versus Brock, was not a fan. Complete shit. I completely take the Kevin Owens and Austin Bill, and Austin even never appeared on TV, so I'm taking that. And then night 2, and for this past
39,
year, I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that. But
that was Devontae's.
No, I give it to night 1 for this year too. I give it to night 1. I thought that was the better match. I thought this night 2 was a kick in the build. The night. I think it all matters. I think the build and the crescendo. Mm-hmm. Night 2 was a kick in the goddamn balls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was not like, and I'm still feeling the effects of night 2. What the hell? Jimmy Uso is the biggest idiot in wrestling from a character standpoint. You turn on the guy just so you could go back and be a flunky again.
Pretty much.
Please make it make sense to me. We'll talk about it as the show goes on, but it makes no sense, right? So look, man, I will. If I see some good build for both nights this year, I will I will concede this argument. I will. If I just see like good build, if I know, okay, night 1 it's going to be this, night 2 it's going to be that, I will be a happy man. It seems like what they're trying to do is they're trying to take your money on night 1 just so you're going to buy it just off the brand value of WrestleMania, and then night 2 is where they're kind of letting you know here's where the main stuff is going to happen at, right? Yeah. And night 1 is they're treating it like it's just, it's there and we want you to buy it, but anything could be the main event. And it's them kind of hedging their bets too, they're trying to play up to the press to see, like test if we make Bianca and Sasha the main event, then this is going to get like good press from the black media and the mainstream media, and we can brag about this.
But that was still billed as the main. That's my whole point. Is that just because it's on a night 1 doesn't mean it's diminished.
I don't remember it billed. I remember the bill was that morning. Called it the
main event of WrestleMania.
Yes, they called it that day. The day of. They did it the day of. Nobody does remember. That's like me going to the grocery store, forgetting my wife's birthday, and going to the grocery store and getting her some fucking Kroger flowers. And you're like, yo, hey, babe, happy anniversary. And I just remembered it that day.
You didn't put any planning into the build of that present.
Yeah, I didn't do a goddamn thing except remember at the last minute. So yeah, I get credit for that because I did remember, even though it was the last minute, you got your Kroger flowers, you got your Kroger chocolates. Be happy with that,
Shout out to Kroger, even though they're not a sponsor.
Shout out to Kroger. You got your stuff, but that's not how you do birthday gifts for your wife. And that's my comparison to night 1 of WrestleMania. Yes, it was great that they did it. I give them all the credit in the world, but you just basically what you did was you gave me some Kroger flowers, you gave me some Kroger chocolates, and be happy with that. And as fans, because it's WWE, that's how we grade them, and that's how we're happy with stuff with them,
Like, this some good ass store chocolate.
Yeah.
Nate, we doing some hard research right now. So they announced that Sasha and Bianca was going to main event WrestleMania 5 days before the show. And guess what? For Becky Lynch versus Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania, they announced it a week before that they was going to main event WrestleMania.
That wasn't WrestleMania.
It don't make sense. They announced it within that same time frame.
You are not
No. You the one that brought it up. You the one that brought it up.
I'm bringing up facts. You are
bringing up facts too.
And feelings.
Andrew said he did the research.
I just looked it up.
He did the research on a one-night WrestleMania to tell me that Bianca and the other two.
I just told you that they announced it 5 days before.
Yes, on a one-night WrestleMania, but you don't.
I said Bianca and Sasha.
Both of those feel way too soon, though. Like
they announced it a week before.
Like, why are we waiting until a week out to announce our main events? That's another question.
Man, shut up.
That's another question.
I done had enough. I done had enough.
Can we move on to the new stuff? Yeah.
Look, here's the thing though. Like, Chinyere, this is you ain't been with us in a while. This is how we go. I know some of the other podcasts that you've guested on and some of the other shows that you've done, they might be at a certain level, like at a certain gear, but here on the NWA podcast,
we go full gear. The rest of the podcast, man.
We go full gear on the NWA podcast.
I've seen that and I love it. I'm here for it, though.
Trying to step over my transition. All right, so let's talk about Full Gear before Andrew tries to break into Kris' house and steal his baby. But yeah, Full Gear last night from what was it, Kris? The Kia Forum.
Yeah, the Forum
used to be the Great Western Forum.
Now it's the Kia Forum.
The Kia Forum in Los Angeles in Kris's backyard. We had the latest in the line of AEW's pretty solid 12-hour podcast. It wasn't that long, but it kind of felt that at some points. Kris, so what we're going to do, we're not going to get into a deep dive of match by match because John Pollock and Wai Ting did a great job last night or not even last night, this morning at like 2 in the morning. Pollock and Ting was out here giving you the AEW Full Gear review. So y'all can check that out after this show if you want to hear more about the details of last night. But just kind of your overall feelings coming out of that show, Kris. Going in, what was your excitement level? And then coming out of Full Gear last night, what did you think about what TK and them boys delivered?
All right, so going into Full Gear, I wasn't excited at all. I was like, I was more excited about eating Panera for lunch.
Panera is good though.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I was more excited about that.
Yeah, they got like they got like the the 2 for 2, whatever. Like you get half a sandwich and then the soup, then the bread bowl.
Oh yeah.
Y'all don't know about this Panera. Panera changed your life, Andrew.
Yeah, but I thought the show it made no sense for the most of the show. I gotta be 100% on. I haven't watched John and Wai's review yet, so I look forward to watching that. But it made no sense to me, man. The match though, the Swerve match, with Hangman, that was something that you got to go out of your way for. That made it worth it. That made the whole night worth it to me. But as far as the show, like it reminded me of one of those WWE Logic Hole shows where it's like there was a show they did a while ago where CM Punk gets attacked backstage and I forgot Kevin Nash and Triple H. Triple H said, "You attacked yourself," or it was something ridiculous. I don't even remember what it was. And this was what this was, because this guy needs surgery, yet he's gonna replace MJF. Yeah, it was dumb.
Brofoonery.
But the wrestling is really, really good on the show, and even the stuff like, and that's kind of like, you could talk about the storyline aspect of things, and wrestling as a whole right now is just getting on my nerves with their storylines. but that was particularly jarring to me, and I'm glad that Swerve won, because if he didn't win, it would have made Hangman's promo on Wednesday very true, because Hangman called him the biggest idiot or whatever. And I was like thinking that. I was like, this is what are you breaking into guys' house and stuff, and I teach civics. That's one of the classes that I teach, and just knowing what I know about the law, and that I always have a hard time suspending my disbelief when wrestling gets into the home break-ins and stuff. But I was say, Kris, that man ain't had no security system in the crib. No security. You got no security. You got no neighborhood watch. This fool's just gonna come in your house, some black dude with dreadlocks. I
was about to say Kris and Nana too. Nana was with him.
And Nana, right.
Two dark-skinned black dudes just breaking into the house in the suburbs. I'm assuming that Paige lives in the suburbs.
Rural Virginia.
Yeah.
Rural Virginia.
Yeah.
Even if Hangman ain't do nothing, I'm sure one of the people that lived in his neighborhood would have said something.
Yeah. Florence that live across the street from Hangman probably called on the police.
TK, you are overextended. You need to hire another booker, because that is
the when he dropped the shirt on the baby. I was like, what you doing, bro?
You are just reminding me of the silliness of this. I had completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, but the baby sold that though. The baby sold it.
You heard a little wah in the background when he dropped the shirt on
the baby was a worker.
Yeah. I had put that nonsense in. Where was the mom at? Where was the nanny? Like where was somebody?
Grandma Page wasn't in the house, man. What's going on?
Yeah, grandma. Somebody should have been there. You know,
the baby watching itself in the house.
Right.
What the fuck is going? Somebody call Child Protective.
Man. We got two crimes occurring at the same time. We got a home invasion and we got child abandonment.
The mental gymnastics you have to do to explain this crap is just astronomically bad. It was horrible. But the match ended up being good.
Yeah.
I don't agree that it makes up for this horrible storytelling just because Andrew reminded me of dropping his shirt on the baby. It doesn't make up for it, but at least that, the match was good.
Real quick, Chris, shout out. We got a super chat. Shout out to T. Anthony. And again, if you want to get in on the conversation, the easiest way to hop the line is to hit that super chat button. He says, Nate, on Twitter, I mentioned that while I know Swerve and Hangman will be good, I feel like someone's going to get hanged. I still don't know how I feel about that match, Nate. I would say, like, when he sent that to me on Twitter, Chris, I was like, as much as I love Hangman and Swerve, it's like in the hands of a lesser performer or lesser performers, I think this match could have gotten a little bit, I don't know, in this climate we living in right now, dog. But I think they gave us like the right amount of brutality, and it was a hell of a match.
And just
I'll let you go in a second, right? They did a because I'm never a fan of hanging niggas, hanging brothers. That's just not something.
I don't think anybody should be a fan of that.
No. Yeah, it's not something that
even though we know there are some people in this world that are.
Yes, but in
they're not listening to this show.
Yeah, in the storyline aspect,
where they're listening and they're really mad right now.
Yeah. From a storyline perspective, if you break into my crib and dropping shirts on my baby,
some merch, Chris, some free merch.
Chris, ripping up art projects that's on the
ripping up art projects and stuff. Yeah, you might find yourself on the receiving end of a hanging. So I can kind of forgive it from that standpoint, but
y'all funny as hell.
As a general rule, just no hanging, man. Let's leave that out. No slave angles and no hanging. If you could keep those.
Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, I'll be happy. But the match was great, man. And forgive me, post listeners, but we if we're going to talk about the good in the match, we have to talk about the fuckery around it that's associated with it. This match is likely gonna be my match of the year. But
it was great.
But I can't just blindly make it my match of the year without talking about the home break-in and stuff. It's like at least we got Swerve winning 2 big matches in a row. Yeah. And that's something TK hasn't really done a lot of. And I do feel like Swerve is on his way after this match. If you could put away
it's time to move on, man. I'm talking about for Swerve. This is what I really like, and I'm pretty sure everybody would agree, is that there's a consistent, like him 2-0 now. He 2-0 Hangman. Yep. Let's not make this a thing where he needs to go back and you need to feel like Hangman need to get his one up. Let's move Swerve on, man. Move him on. Because I know we talked about it on previous podcasts. I think that he should have been the international champion already. But I mean, that didn't happen. And now I feel like we're on this trajectory, especially coming after this match. And it was the best match on the show. It was the longest match on the show. Swerve and Hangman, they put on an excellent performance, man. And I think that it's now time for Swerve to realize what a lot of people have already been saying about him, what a lot of people in this podcast have been saying about him, is that he is a world champion. And I hope that trajectory continues. I hope this is not a thing where we got to wait 5 months for this thing to come to fruition. I hope that we can see it through within the coming months, maybe within a 2 to 3 month time frame. At least, bro, at the very least, can we just get a meaningful world championship program for Swerve. But if I can't get the win, just give me the meaningful build. Don't give me no 1 week build. Let it play out, and then just give me something that I'm gonna actually give a shit about when it finally happens, and I'm gonna be invested in, and then that be one of those world championship matches where you like, there's no way the champion's losing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think, I think you can always, like, I think Way was saying this on the show last night / this morning, that you can always go, now that it's been like, this is a literal blood feud, like you can always go back to it for a title program later on. But
I mean, some would say, Ray, this probably should have been like Hangman and Swerve. No disrespect to MJF and King Switch, but to me, that's my champions over there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it should have at least been the main event, because there was nothing like the last 2 matches were not topping this. And also, to go back to T. Anthony's point, like, good thing it wasn't Swerve, but it's amazing how a white man being hung by a black man is just like number 3 on the disturbance scale. And like, that's just sliding under the rug, but you drinking people's blood. It's like,
oh my God.
Do that.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for Swerve to interrupt Mrs. Hangman's like Pilates class or something.
just drop a shirt on her.
No.
Yeah. Hopefully that kind of crap is done.
I ain't gonna lie, Chris. Like, I did crack up when he dropped the shirt on that baby, because I was like, this is ridiculous, especially and this is another part of Swerve, and then we can pivot to Chinyere, because I definitely want to get Chinyere's thoughts on this match. But I think, like, Swerve, we've all said Swerve is that dude. Swerve is next. Honestly, Swerve probably maybe should have been ahead of some other people that have had those opportunities before him. But I feel like he is just this relatable villain, Ray. I think that's kind of the hardest thing to do sometimes in sports or in movies or in TV, to have a villain that people are connected to, not just because they look cool or they do cool things, or you know, they're petty, you know, they dropping shirts on little infants. But like, there's a reason behind his actions, and you can kind of be like, I don't agree with it, but I see it. And so, like, I think Swerve should be the guy that's next. Also, man, and this is, you know, not just because this brother was on our show. Yes, we do got the super chat. Ray held up the super chat sign. This is not just because the brother was on our show, but it's really cool to see Prince Nana along for the ride in this, because, you know, I remember, Andrew, when you and me and Kris talked to Nana on that episode, and we were like, dog, you should be in one of these major companies, man. Like, you were good. Like, you know, has anybody been calling? You've been talking to people, and, you know, he's just like, Christopher, it happens in time, Christopher.
Man, I'm telling you, when you got like, I mean, not everybody like has that mindset, but like, you can tell when certain people just know that eventually something is going to come along for me, and that's the kind of mindset that Nana has had. Like, I've heard him, and like you talked about when he came on our show, and then like when he's done other interviews, and he's always talked about stuff. Oh, let me read the super chat. This is from Anwar. He said, "Why do most only the, what's that say, 6 speaking absolutes, black wrestling fans only support black wrestlers in WWE and nowhere else?" So, oh, did he mean, he said SITH?
Oh, yeah, that's a Star Wars reference.
Okay, Star Wars reference. Okay, yeah, but he said, why do most black wrestling fans only support black wrestlers in WWE and nowhere else? That is something.
Let's not do the most black wrestling fans, because that's not that's a loud segment of the online dork segment.
That's something I have been seeing a lot of people say, like that they say like most. Or the majority of black only pay attention to black wrestlers when it's in relation to WWE. But there's so many black wrestling fans that like watch everything, but
unless you've tested it, unless you've drawn up a hypothesis and research and have a control group and all that stuff, we're not going to be saying most black wrestling fans, because I don't know if that's the truth. I do know there is a loud contingent of black wrestling fans that cape for WWE, which is fine. You can have your brand and all that stuff. I think with WWE is just WWE. There's just the familiarity there with that. Anybody.
It's McDonald's. It's Coca-Cola.
Right. Yeah. And anybody trying to infringe, it's like you look at them as the less than brand. And why are you trying to compete with the A brand? And that's and people just and it's gonna be like, if you're a fan of, like, say you're a WWE fan and not an AEW fan, when someone like Edge leaves to go to AEW, you're looking at him as someone who turned on y'all. And then you look at someone like Jade as someone, she finally got her brain right. By going to WWE.
Well, we saw it like when Cody came over, when Devontae came over, like the reaction from the WWE fans that were like throwing dirt on that man's name for years when he was gone from the company, and then as soon as he comes back, like, yo, we always been rocking with you, Devontae, and it's like, I don't think you were.
Yeah. And I saw, and then with the Cody stuff, I saw some of it on the A. I mean, I think wrestling is tribalist, man. It's just people like what they like and all that stuff.
Hey, I was about to say, Kris, on top of that, you could say that about like most, like any type of sports genre. Like people had that with NBA teams, NFL teams, but they fight you at the game if you got on a different jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Tell you, Andrew, the Atlanta Hawks taking this in-season tournament this year. We taking that title.
Right, and I think it doesn't.
Hey, Nate, it's good to have dreams, brother.
we gonna get some kind of title this year.
and I don't think it helps with wrestling fans when you've got like wrestling journalists that go in on the tribalism, right? Like, if you ever listen to like Rosenberg do his stuff, he's a WWE guy.
He on the payroll, like
he gets paid from WWE, and he's on. Yeah, and he does like on. You never see AEW guys on Ebro in the morning or anything like that, and it just kind of perpetuates that stereotype that WWE is the big time company.
Yeah.
You know who else is big time? Andrew Thompson. This young lady, the niece, Chinyere Okafor.
Just about to say that, yeah.
Chinyere, did you get a chance to watch Full Gear? And if so, what did you think, especially when it comes to the Hangman Swerve match?
I did get a chance to watch Full Gear. I was actually covering it live for one of the sites that I write for. So that was a lot of fun. And I remember I was writing, I think Will Ospreay was announced right before the Swerve match.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I'm in bed, it's like 4 a.m. in the morning. So I'm in bed and I'm like trying to write up the Will Ospreay.
I know them AEW shows is hell for you, Chinyere. They don't get through till like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Like Full Gear literally went up until 7 this morning. And
that's tough.
I was up from 1:30 up until 7. And
that's
that
crazy.
Was a lot.
Work ethic. Talk to him.
It was literally like one of those things where I'm literally just writing something on Will Ospreay. I'm trying to be quick about it. And when I look up, like, okay, I see them coming in, they're doing the entrance. Next thing I know, the staples going around, and Hangman is on the floor drinking Swerve's blood. I was like, what? So I definitely like sat up and I took notice. That woke me up because I was like, oh, okay. Like this is intense. This is really, really intense. But I really, really enjoyed it. And I've like followed Swerve all the way from like his time in Lucha Underground as Kill Shot, and there's always just a presence and an aura about Swerve.
Yes.
So it's always been something that I've always been like, when he gets it, it's gonna be lit.
Yes.
I thought it would happen in WWE, but it didn't.
Yeah, they dropped the ball.
Yeah. So there was that. But then, like yesterday, that match between Hangman and Swerve, it felt like a colossal matchup. It felt like one of those big time matchups, and it felt like honestly the climax of the show. I definitely agree that it felt like the main event of the evening, because after that, like it felt like
night two.
Everything else was just kind of cooling down, So it was just that type of thing. But I really, really enjoyed that match, and I was like really, really into it. And I think definitely Swerve is up next, and I think he should definitely get up next, like quick, so that we don't lose the momentum on him.
That was going to be the next question I was going to throw to you, Chinyere, because I think, and Kris, I think Kris said he was starting to get a little bit tired of the booking. I think another thing that we might need to keep an eye on this next year coming up is AEW's pretty much like more than doubled the amount of pay-per-view events they're running.
Yeah.
And so I think when you've got like all of this great talent, you know, you just mentioned Will Ospreay coming into the fold, and it's like, how do you, and you know, Tony TK, like he puts a lot on his plate. Like, how do you take care of everything with all these added shows, trying to keep everything straight and also trying to serve your talent in the best way? Do you feel like Swerve is going to have that breakthrough? Maybe last night was the breakthrough moment, but do you think Swerve is going to have that moment next year or maybe even later this year where he ascends? Or do you think it's going to be tough with kind of that log jam of talent that Tony has right now?
I think Swerve could definitely become a top player. I think he definitely should become a top player, personally, right? I think Tony, if he does it right, he could have Swerve as one of his top guys, at least like top 3 guys type of thing, including Will Ospreay, who is one of my favorite wrestlers. I won't even lie. But
no, that's fact. Talk to him, man. Ospreay one of the best, man.
He cold.
Yeah.
Like I was out here hopping by myself in my room when that but I definitely
5 o'clock in the morning, Chinyere just going crazy for Ospreay.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Tony needs to find a way to handle everything because it is getting busier within AEW. But he could definitely make it work. And Swerve definitely needs to be in the conversation all the time. He cannot be the one to mess up Swerve. He cannot also be part of the people who mess up Swerve.
Yeah, just to piggyback off Chinyere's point.
Real quick, nephew.
Yeah,
I want to hit this comment real quick because this is something that I was thinking about and I forgot to mention when I was talking about Swerve, man. Like, and again, it just the package of Swerve and Nana. Like where you've got Nana and these dancers coming out and doing this crazy dance, and then Swerve is like, "I'm here for business, man. I'm here for, you know, me and this dude. Like I done threw my shirt on his newborn. This is personal. You know what I mean? And then you got the foolishness of Nana out front with the girls, and it's like Swerve is in his bag right now, nephew. And so to Chinyere's point, it would be damn near criminal if TK fumbled the bag with what he's got right now, because you could make the argument that right now Swerve is, if not the best, among the best performers in AEW.
I would say this, like I think a lot something we tend to see with like some promotions and some handle it better than others is like when you have multiple top talents in the men's and women's division ascending at the exact same time, and you got so many people that are or a few people or quite a few people that are like on the up and up, and everybody's moving at the same pace and everybody has their like same trajectory. Like you got a talent, and then it's the thing about Will Ospreay, like we can kind of factor him out until like February because he's not going to be with them like on a full-time basis until like they get on the road to Revolution. So you can, we ain't got to call him Will Ospreay, but when he comes in, you know you got to fact like Will Ospreay. I think when you're talking about that top 5 best wrestlers in the world right now, wherever you want to put him, he in that top 3. Like wherever you want to put him, he's in there.
He in the top 5, and he ain't 4 or 5.
Yeah, he damn sure ain't 4 or 5. So definitely gotta get Ospreay credit. But as far as Swerve goes, I feel like it's just a matter of, like how Chinyere said, you got to keep that momentum at a steady pace. Like it can be very easy to ride the back of this win that he had, and then just sort of like, I guess, pull back from it a little bit and let people just remember that Swerve got this big victory instead of pushing forward with it. So I think that now Tony is in a position where, like, okay, I try to put it like this, and okay, so like if you want that immediate payoff / satisfaction from that win, I would say right now, just for what I think is going to happen personally, I think that MJF is going to end up dropping the title to Samoa Joe at World's End. That's what I think is going to happen personally.
Oh, okay.
Now, as far as Swerve goes, I feel like if you want this immediate capitalization, and I don't know how other people might. I know some people might feel like it might be a slight, but maybe he could win the Continental Classic and become that Triple Crown champion.
I was going right there, and if you, I'm with you.
Be the New Japan Strong ROH World and be the first unified AEW Triple Crown. You know, and Tony Khan talked about it at the press conference, similar to All Japan, and just have a unification of these 3 things and bring it all together. And that, I mean, I know, again, I know a lot of people, and even myself, I want to see Swerve with the AEW World title But I mean, if you want that immediate like piggyback payoff to this, like this momentous win. I mean, him being the first unified Triple Crown champion of New Japan and ROH, and then of course AEW as well. That ain't the bad thing.
With wins over people like Danielson and Andrade.
Exactly.
And cats like
Mark Briscoe. Like that's a real solid feat right there. But at the same time, I also understand people who are of the mindset of like, I mean, that's cool, but like, dog, let's send him after the world, the AEW world. Like, with that, you would still have the accolade, because I know that he's mentioned it about being the first Black AEW world champion. He would also be, in this particular situation, what I just mentioned, the first Black holder of this unified championship, while also being the first ever just period holder of this championship. So I mean, it's definitely two good accolades, but also I'll try to make sure that I understand, the other side of it from people who like, man, that's cool and all, but I kind of want them to see them go after the world title. And both of them are like fair points for real.
My problem with the world title situation right now, we can kick it over to Kris, is and this is no slight to MJF. Like, I think the face turn has worked better than I thought it would. Like, I think, brofoonery aside, like, I think MJF's done a decent job with this. It's just I'm not as invested, man, in and there's no slight to MJF or King Switch. I wasn't
just not feeling no more.
Man, I wasn't feeling it. And so, like, if the plan is to wait until Cole is ready for the MJF Cole, it's like I'm not really here for that, Kris.
Right. Yeah, I'm not here for it either. And I think the brofoonery is fine.
I love that that's the term we use now.
Bro, I like that term. I don't know about brofoonery.
Yeah, I think it's fine if it's like, contextualized a little bit better, like MJF, I do not understand what he's supposed to be, at least when he was a heel. I didn't really like the heel stuff because I just always thought it was cheap heat, but I at least understood his motivations and what his character was. Now it's just kind of, this is our guy that we have that's over. So let's have him cower and run from the big guys, but still also play up to the fans, and then just kind of, turn him into this jokey kind of baby face where he has decent matches every once in a while, but it's like you're just still trying to figure him out, and the booking is just very, very convoluted.
Hey, Kris, would you say that? I mean, and I'm pretty sure like y'all have seen it just from watching the AEW, but like for me, just from what I've noticed about like the way that Tony Khan books, it often seems like when there's a when a talent gets injured, right? It feels like he like stalls on that. Like he's like, okay, we gotta get back to that like immediately. We gotta keep going. Like in some type of ways, I feel like when a talent gets injured, I feel like Tony Khan, he feels he has to get back to those certain things instead of just completely moving away from it, and then we revisiting it and maybe
come back to it.
And maybe come, but I feel like he sometimes feels like he has to stick to it, because if he doesn't stick to it, it'll go away or it'll lose its luster and stuff like that. And like with NJF, I feel like just at this point, I feel like people is ready for something fresh. I think it's just that. I don't think it's like no complicated thing. I just think that people just ready for something new. And that's what happens in wrestling. People, especially in this like current generation of like wrestling viewing and stuff like that, people have like not everybody has a short attention span in terms of like what they like and they don't like, but people just want to see something consistently fresh. And if that thing is going to be in place for a while, they want the thing to be consistently fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a Vince McMahon thing, right? Like, because
I've been saying,
if Vince McMahon if he's got in mind that like Triple H and John Cena are going to be the main event of WrestleMania, and then Edge
night two.
Yeah, then Edge gets hot. Then he's not gonna go off of what he thinks is the original thing. And I think this is a problem in wrestling. Is like when somebody gets hot, everybody's afraid to kind of go with the hotness. They're like, this is our plan.
New hotness, old and busted.
Hey, bro, you just to add on to Chris's point, that actually turns into what a match that happened at Full Gear with Julia Hart. Bro, she has the momentum. Give her the belt.
Yeah.
Give her the belt. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you. But when somebody's hot, and Chris,
well, and on the head. To that point, Andrew, one of the biggest examples of that is Kofi Mania. Yeah. That wasn't the original plan for Kofi to get that belt. Like you had Ali get injured,
but the match that was supposed to take place at WrestleMania 35, the plan, like talking about dating back since February, it was supposed to be KO versus Danielson. That was the match that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. Then Kofi changed all that shit.
Yeah. and sometimes you got to listen to your audience when something starts to get over and it's organic. Sometimes, you know, I know you've got this plan for MJF and Cole, but who's to say you can't come back to it? Or who's to say you can't do Cole and Swerve? And that won't be great. Like, I think there's ways to keep guys in the mix, but if you got somebody who is starting to get heat, you know,
you can tell the crowd is getting behind them, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and going back to what I was saying about like Julia Hart, just to touch on that, like you can see, like even dating back to the match that she had with Kris Statlander at Wrestle Dream, but you can tell people are starting to get behind Julia. Like you can, it's not nothing forced. You can see it.
Right.
So like when the match happened last night, I'm like, dude, put the belt on her, bro. Like you can feel people want to see her with the belt. So that's how you do it. When, like Chris said, sometimes people, they get nervous about like just leaning into it, and then by the time you actually are ready to lean into it, that luster gone.
Yeah, like with Kofi, and they never got behind Kofi either. They gave him the belt to say, yeah, we listened to the fans, and this is something that we did. But as soon as they found the big white beast guy that they wanted to really have the belt, they put it on him.
Here comes Brock the Brother Slayer.
Yeah, that was the premiere of SmackDown on Fox, and I went to that, man. And after that loss, that place deflated.
Did you get in your car and drive home like you did when Sting lost to Triple H?
Well, I had Ronnie and them cats with me, so we had to we went to the Yard House afterwards. And then
Hey Chris, and then they debut Cain Velasquez.
They did Cain Velasquez.
Just so Brock could get his win back in a pre-scripted fashion.
And this fool Cain Velasquez is over here in the Bay Area opening fire on the streets of LA, or not of LA, of the Bay, the San Francisco area, just shooting at people because he thought the dude was messing around with his cousin or whatever. So he just go open fire in front of pedestrians and whatnot. That's another story for another day. But I don't think you have to worry about Kofi Kingston ever doing that.
No, Kofi don't do that.
Yeah. So,
but real quick, because Andrew brought up Julia Hart, so I want to swing this back around to Chi-Chi, because we might have seen history last night. Like there was more than one women's match on this AEW card, Chinyere. Not only did we have the three-way between Kris Statlander, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue for the TBS title, but we had timeless Tony Storm on these streets as Kris disappeared. He's ready for his close-up.
He's still here.
Timeless Tony Storm on his streets versus Hikaru Shida. So we had two. I thought the three-way was really good. It exceeded my expectations. Tony and Shida, it was good. I think it could have been a little bit better, but I still enjoyed it. What did you make of both of those matches, and also, you know, kind of how the women have been presented lately in AEW?
I think definitely there has been some effort with the women's division. There has been some effort. Because I know at some point there was like, it didn't look too good for the AEW women's division.
No. Like one match a week.
but it was just but it's literally one of those things where now we're moving on into a space where we have two women's matches on the card, and those are the two matches that actually provided the two title changes on the card. So it was really, really great. Hikaru Shida, I feel for her, man. I feel for her because now this means that she has the shortest reign in the title's history, I think.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I'm like, I hope something great comes off her loss, you know? Tony Storm now becomes the second ever to actually get the three-time, to become a three-time champion. So that's I'm here for that. I'm here for that. And with regards to Julia Hart, my word, yes. I think I feel like it was definitely the right move for Julia Hart to win, because also it shows that AEW has faith in their own product. And because if I'm not mistaken, Julia Hart was actually like, that's her first promotion that she's ever worked in.
Yeah, she homegrown.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Julia Hart is my age. Her and I are the same age. But I'm like, oh, go off, girl, go off. You know, do your thing. But you know, like I was really here for it. And Kris Statlander, I love her. And in that match, she looked like beast. You know, she looked like the girl. But I think she's definitely gonna get her lick back. So it was definitely fun watching those women's matches. And Timeless Tony Storm, I love it. And I love how like, the discourse on Twitter about like how we should always show her in black and white only. I love it so much. I'm here for it. So
Chinyere, to kick it back over to you, like I want to act like similar to how we just talked about Julia. Like how do you, because I know there were a lot of people that were kind of like, well, she it's like, man, like she just kind of got started and like it wasn't like that much, I guess, substance to her this current the previous reign that she just had. But like when you got her up against somebody like Toni Storm, who be mentioned like similar to Julia, all this momentum. Toni Storm has this brand new character. AEW's clearly invested in it. They got Mariah May getting involved in the mix. You got a new Butler and Luther. You know what I'm saying? Like when you got a talent that
Luther
is
out
like
here getting checks.
Luther out here getting bullshit. Like when you got a talent like that that's on the up and up, and then you got another talent in Hikaru Shida who a lot of people want to see. I guess just get more substance into the reign that she had. But again, versus a talent like Toni Storm when like she has this brand new character and seemingly everybody's feeling it. And like, how do you like balance those two things? Because I mean, I'm just gonna be both sides of the fan bases that want something from each of those sides.
Yeah, I think definitely you could have with Timeless Toni Storm, because she brings the entertainment factor and she makes it a big deal of the whole thing, right? But it is one of those things where I think definitely this is a nice way to shake up the entire division, and they have the chance now to make things right and like but it all depends on how they started off this Wednesday. You know, like they need to start it off the right way so that we can actually have some sort of longevity and actually see where these reigns are actually going and what they mean. So I think it's really great, and I think it could definitely serve both the people that are like just maybe entertainment fans, you know, just casual fans, as well as the ones who are like, you know, hardcore fans, because especially Toni Storm, she can bring it. She can bring it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I say, well, when I'm thinking about Toni, I'm like, I think that they're going to lean into, I'm pretty sure that we all see it, but I think they're going to lean into that craze fan storyline with Mariah May. Like, she's going to be like obsessed with Toni. Like, I'm like really, like, I can't remember the last time, like, it was Latricia and Mickey was the last time.
Yeah.
I can't remember like another time like that craze fan storyline who, you know, who I'm assuming with the pair is that Mariah gets on the same level as Toni, and that way we can have some type of match between them. But when I'm looking at that, I'm like, again, it's a similar thing to what I was just talking about with Julia Hart. Like she got so much momentum in this brand new character. In what way?
I think your mic is kind of
so TK trying to scramble the signal.
Oh, can you hear me? Chinyere, can you hear me? Ray, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're cutting in and out just a little bit.
Oh, go ahead and take it over for me, Nate. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah, TK trying to scramble the nephew's signal real quick. Ray, thoughts on what we saw last night from the ladies, man? Like the three-way, and then again, you know, we talk about timeless Toni Storm, like she is the opposite of Ray Williams, because Ray is certainly on a time crunch. He is not timeless. He got 10 days, y'all, to prove himself. But what do you think about what we saw from the AEW women's divisions last night?
Well, I think all of you guys pretty much hit all the points to a T. Like Andrew was saying earlier, I think that Toni is on like a same trajectory as a Swerve, as a what's my girl name? Hart, Julia Hart, as far as that character catching fire and the crowd being along with it and everyone else. And like Toni is just like, all right, well, we're going to just go ahead and full steam ahead. Again, like Chinyere said, tough to see it for Shida, but I think I think that they know TK and everyone at AEW knows what they have in Sheeta, and I'm hoping that they do give her, because I believe she's actually, even though I don't know if they're ever going to do like the Shinsuke Nakamura where they have her be serious and then have the subtitles and then try to get her over that way. But I think they do know that they have something in her, and they know that they can always rely on her.
Like the audience already sees her at a certain level in that division. And it's like, yeah, like she's a believable champion anytime they want to go back to her.
Of course. Yes. And so hopefully they continue to push her as like one of those main women and continue to have a focus on her, even if she doesn't have the belt. The thing with Julia, and I just love that the work that Julia and Sky Blue are, the improvements that they're making, as well as Kris Statlander, just the improvements that they're all making. I just really feel for Willow Nightingale, though. I wish that she could have had that spot, but again, I think that they kind of did the opposite with Willow. Like when she had won that Heart tournament and when she had beaten Mercedes Monet, it's like that was the time. Even if you didn't do like the TBS, like that was the time to at least push her somewhere. Like when she had that match against Athena, like want to do something with her, but it's just like they kind of pushed her like off to the background. And now I'm kind of thinking like, where is there room for Willow in all of this? So I think we do have some strong contenders in both women's championship divisions, I believe. I just want to see how the story plays out for both Tony and for Julian.
So real quick, because we talked about the women's matches, we talked about Hangman and Swerve, but let's kind of go around the horn and just overall impressions, because I think if you take that Hangman Swerve match off of this show last night, Kris, the way I judge AEW pay-per-views is not, on a 5-star scale or, 1 out of 10, but it's like, did I get my money's worth as a consumer? And I think if you take Swerve and Hangman off of that show, I would have felt like, yeah, y'all gave me like a $38 show when I paid you $50. But because Hangman and Swerve was on there, I felt like, okay, the whole show wasn't perfect. I feel like the main event kind of veered into some like mid-2000s WWE territory when it comes to storytelling. But I felt I got my money's worth overall. It wasn't the best AEW show of the year, but it was a solid show. So that's kind of how I would grade it, a solid show. Nothing must see outside of really Swerve and Hangman. Like there were some good matches on there. There's always good matches in AEW. But if I had to tell somebody like, hey, you got to see this, it would be Swerve and Hangman. Kris, overall thoughts on the card. Did you feel like you got your hard-earned money's worth?
Yeah, I do, because of the Swerve Hangman match, I thought it was just such a great, awesome match. The storytelling was just very masterful, if I do say so. If for that, I would have given this an F.
Give it an F?
I would have given it an F or a D. Only because it just made no sense. Like if you watched AEW through the pre-show and then to the opening show, it made no sense. And then Samoa Joe is out there to protect MJF, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
MJF.
Where the hell did Joe go?
Yeah, MJF still gets his ass beat. Adam Cole is just out there like a crippled cheerleader. And I could say that because I'm crippled right now myself. So before the crippled community comes,
wait till you get them stem cells.
Yes, indeed.
Stemmies.
Go down to Columbia.
But it was just so goofy, and you can't talk about last night's show, unfortunately, without talking about the preceding goofiness that surrounded it. It's just impossible to ignore. I did like Ricky Starks, because I think Ricky Starks, I've always been going back and forth with him and Swerve on 1 and 2. Starks is at a solid 2. But if it wasn't for the Swerve match, I think Starks would probably be getting a higher grade, you know. It was just you can't put shows on like this and keep doing it. Like for 1 month, yeah, we'll put up with it because you did have one classic match. But next month, you can't have these ridiculously goofy story. I mean, this was like the bloodline angle instead of doing it in like a whole couple years. They did it in a night of sheer, utter, ridiculous goofiness. That's my opinion of it.
Tell them how you feel, Kris. Let's see, Ray. When you look at Full Gear as a whole, did you feel it was a solid show? Do you feel it was a great show? Do you feel it was a lackluster show? Did you feel like you got your money's worth on these 10-day contracts, Ray?
Well, first off, super chat. T. Anthony blessing us with some more Canadian dollars. Thank you. Hashtag pray for waiting. LOL. But we haven't. We're still we're still at an hour and a half, baby. We good.
I think he's alluding to Chris's exuberance tonight. Kris ain't came out here to play with y'all, man. Kris is in his bag tonight. It's like Kris ain't even got no baby, but it's like somebody came and threw a shirt on Chris's baby. Kris ain't come out here to play with y'all this month.
He saw an Omar shirt on his.
Yeah. We're gonna have to name something after that, like the throw the shirt on the baby moment or something, because we can't let that moment pass without like immortalizing it in some way.
So that thing got to win the AEW Moment of the Year award at the end of 2023.
Yeah, something
like that.
Hey, look, and then had a baby come out to accept the award.
Yeah. You sound smooth as silk now.
Yes,
we back,
nephew.
We back. Here we go. Appreciate it. Good looking out, Kris.
Yeah.
But did you feel like you got your money's worth from the show, Ray? Damn! Now Ray froze. Ray thinking about the baby.
Hey, his 10-day contract expired.
Ray back in free agency.
Yeah. That's like when the cable company cut off my cable in the middle of The Rock coming back in 2011. I'm watching it, and all of a sudden they cut the cable off in the middle of it. Man, I was so angry.
While we wait for Ray to get back, while we work to get Ray back, Chinyere, thinking about the show last night, do you think it was a good show, great show, average show? Do you feel like you got your money's worth?
I think it was a good show. I'm definitely going to agree with Kris in terms of that. Like, honestly, like if you remove the Swerve match, like the Swerve and Hangman match, then it's kind of like, okay, actually, I don't know. I'm not sure, But maybe this is wrong of me, but I tend to judge a show on how good it is, depending on whether I'm able to stay up for it. Because if I'm not closing up, I'm like, this is not it.
Yeah.
But I was actually able to stay up, and I really enjoyed the matches and all of that. But also to be fair, I haven't really been keeping up with AEW as much as I really should have. But it was really cool for me to just be able to get back into the fold with like a major pay-per-view. So I think definitely Swerve and Hangman bumped it up completely. They made the whole show worth it, right? They could have honestly had that entire money for just them. But yeah, I think it was a good show. But like you said, it is one of the things where they need to just get better. They can't give us the same thing again.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at the Full Gear, like thinking about the show as a whole, so like just looking at the card, like the MJF Samoa Joe versus the Guns, like so on that part, I definitely understand like the story aspect of Joe leaving MJF, because the only reason he agreed to help MJF in the first place was so he could get that world title match eventually.
Yeah, but
you good, Kris?
But if he's injured though, it can't give you the match. Then it's like what was this for? You know, because he still got his ass beat, and like it was like
I think from just a storyline perspective, bro, and just how Joe has been presented, like since he got in AEW, and particularly this situation with MJF, I don't think that he cares for MJF. He just cares about getting his world title shot. And he said whether it's him or Jay White, it doesn't really matter. He just wants his match because Joe wants to be world champion. I think that I think that we'll get to as far as your point, Chris. I get what you're saying to an extent about like
because MJF is the one that promised him the title for doing the tag match. So if if MJF is getting his ass beat, then who knows if Jay White's gonna just willingly give you a title. I'm giving, you know what? I'm giving this way too much thought, and I've learned with wrestling.
You thinking too deep, brother?
Yeah, I've got to stop this stuff because this is just if you give it just a basic like a elementary school level of thought, like middle school level of thought, then it's like what you're gonna play yourself.
Well, it's like Dr. Britt Baker tweeted last night, Chris, like, y'all had a whole crew of medical officials and personnel trying to stop MJF from coming down, but you were just gonna let my injured husband get up in there and
exactly.
After two broken ankle surgeries.
Yeah, like we're trying to understand this, and this is not PhD stuff. This is very, very basic, like middle school health and wellness. Like, and Tony Khan has to stop doing this because this does make him just like the alternative that his company exists to fight against, like if you're going to do stuff like that, I can just get a better version. It reminds me of all the Republicans running against Trump and trying to be Trump-like.
Hold on. Chris got to go ISO on this one.
Yeah. if I'm going to be watching AEW and they're just going to be doing WWE shit, I can just watch WWE and get that kind of crap, and probably get a more entertaining version of that kind of crap. And I don't like that kind of crap. That's the point. I watch AEW because I expect a little bit more intellectualism, I guess, for my professional wrestling that WWE just doesn't provide for me. And what they've been doing for the last couple weeks has been the opposite of that. And it's just like this stuff with MJF was it wouldn't have been so bad if it didn't. It started on the pre-show and spilled over into the whole show. You like this was a whole storyline. So if I'm not an AEW fan and I'm watching this goofy crap, it's hard for me to make sense of it.
I also think in a way you kind of got to know your audience a bit, right, Andrew, because it's like your AEW fans, they're going to be a little bit more clued in to the tropes of wrestling than your average casual fan or your average WWE fan that, just watches when, WrestleMania comes around. Like, we know. You put the brother in the ambulance, he's going to be back by the end of the night. Yeah. The question is, how are you going to tell me that story of him getting back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see, with that, like going back to what I was saying about the MJF, Samoa, and Joe dynamic, that to me makes sense because Joe is like, okay, if all I got to do is help this dude with this title match and I get my match, then whatever else happened to him, it don't really matter. I think that a lot of people would have just preferred, and myself as well, if we could have just got like a straight up just main event, like with MJF and Jay White, like it would have been that much preferred. Like if we could have just got that instead of like all the theatrics and the cinematic, whatever it was, like with him coming back, driving back into the ambulance in the main event, like we've seen that 10 times over. Like I think just people would just prefer, especially like how y'all were just talking about, like with AEW.
Hold up, Andrew. I got to go back to Chris real quick because Black Mega Man has entered the chat. Our guy Black Mega Man, always good to see him. Real quick, want to get our super chat out here. Shout out to the super chat. Wondering if Bow Wow will show up in WWE to finish the story with Jade. That's a great question.
Yeah. No.
Black Mega Man is back. But here's the reason why I put you on the Summer Jam stage, Kris.
Right.
Because Black Mega Man challenges your point about AEW's intellectualism.
So what does he say?
Intellectualism, like scissoring with your best friend and an old man.
I mean,
what say you, Chris Ealy?
I mean, if you could, I mean, that's goofy stuff that that scissoring crap is where it's supposed to be at on the show.
Right.
You know, it's not
the main event.
It's not a main event.
It's not night two.
The whole show. It's Hogan's buddies. Hogan does the serious stuff, and then you got your your tugboat and hacksaw and all them to do the goofy crap. That's a very poor comparison because it's I'm talking about just the overarching storyline. It's Justice League also has the Wonder Twins. The Wonder Twins aren't saving the world. They're there for little kids to buy their merch.
Allergies.
Comic relief.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we got to kind of put these things in perspective.
So
Right.
let me go back to the nephew, because the nephew, TK, was trying to scramble Andrew's signal. He didn't want to hear what the nephew had to say.
Yeah.
But Kris, Ray, Chinyere, and I have given our thoughts overall about Full Gear, Andrew. So when you think about, Ray, you didn't, Ray?
I got cut off.
I was giving the thoughts about Full Gear.
Oh, that's right. Ray did get cut off. Now you got to wait, Ray.
Ray got cut off.
Your 10-day contract got renewed, so you got to start back over again. But Andrew, and then we'll go to Ray. Full Gear in total, good show, great show, average show, lackluster show. Was it worth your money, nephew?
It was I would say it was a good show, and I was saying earlier, I was sort of running down some of the matches that I thought sort of stood out and what I thought made sense storyline wise. Just going back to what I was saying about the MJF Jay White main event, I think it would have just been it would have been better if we could have just got a straight up main event between those two, and we could have just ended it like that. But I think when you add in the dramatization that a lot of people really weren't craving for, it seemed like I just think it kind of spoils the whole thing. I did see some comments about Jay White this possibly being the end for him in terms of with not his future in AEW, but more so about the trajectory of his character. Right. I think that Jay White, I think he'll bounce back. It'll take some time, but I think he'll eventually get the wheels rolling with that again. But yeah, I definitely think that the main event of the night was for sure Swerve Strickland versus Heyman Adam Page. That stole the show, longest match in the show, and not that the longest match on the show means that the match is the main event or it's the best match on the show, but I just think that had a lot of substance to it, and I think that a lot of people are looking forward to what could come of this. And we talked about that earlier about the potential outcomes and the immediate, versus the long term and what those implications can mean. But yeah, I say it was a solid. The main event kind of. The main event kind of, I was just kind of waiting for it to be over for the most part. It did have some, They had some moments in there, some near falls and stuff like that I thought was, it was cool. But it was more so just me waiting for it to be over. I enjoyed I really liked that Orange Cassidy got the win over Mox. I was very happy that they did that. I was hoping they weren't going to flip flop the international title again. I did not want to see that.
Oh, and shout out to Sting because he's had
his last
Sting,
match.
Is Sting undefeated on AEW pay-per-views?
I think so. Yeah, he is. And this was
undefeated.
And this was a homecoming because Sting is an LA dude.
Yep.
And he did and they treated it like that too, And TK brought that up in the press conference last night. Los Angeles dude, and this was his last match in Los Angeles. And if I'd have known that, I would have went to the show. Not feeling 100%. But I did like that aspect of it as well. And shout out to Hangman and Swerve for rising above the goofiness, man. Because usually if you get in wrestling, if you are saddled with goofiness, it's very hard for you to believe in what you are doing and make it good. And I thought they did a great job of doing that. So give those two guys credits, because I mean, I've seen a lot of guys in wrestling, they get put in really goofy stuff, good wrestlers and goofy stuff, and they're just not able to shake the goofiness off of it. And both Swerve and Hangman did that, man. And you got to give them props for that.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention the team and like Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Like this team is like really starting to grow on me a little bit. Like at first, at first I was like, I'm pretty sure what everybody thought it was like a placeholder thing for both of these individuals until they can find their own way, like back into singles. But I'm like really starting to enjoy like the pairing, especially seeing them at the press conference. Like I remember even I heard Ricky doing an interview when he was like, him and Big Bill are like getting to know one another. Like as they move along, like he didn't even know Big Bill was married to Lexi Nair. Just those interesting dynamics that you see between two singles wrestlers that are like coming together as one. And like I honestly, like I thought they were probably going to lose the titles. And when this match first happened, I thought they was going to lose it, probably Kings of the Black Throne or something like that. That's what I thought. But now I'm interested in seeing how they move on going forward. But I know Omega and Jericho got the next title shot. Yeah. So and then I think that Big Bill and Ricky Starks are going to get the win over them. So. This team is starting to groom me. At first, I wasn't too sure about it in terms of how I thought it was going to turn out, but now I'm starting to enjoy the dynamic between Starks and Bill.
Okay, so Andrew Thompson says it was worth his money, Ray, and you know in DC they be taxing the hell out of his check, so you know, brother was he was serious when he said that, Ray. But what about you, man? Last one. So I think so far the consensus is it was a good show, a solid show. Wasn't a best show, but it was worth the money. What did you think, Ray, overall?
Well, in terms of kind of like your scale when it comes to whether I would pay full price, and it kind of reminds me, there's a Twitch channel called Double Toasted, and they kind of when they're doing
hold on real quick, Ray. We going full screen again. Man, because I'm glad you brought that up. Because Double Toasted again, man. If you haven't seen it, it's Corey Coleman, Martin Thomas, and they got like a little crew around them, and they do movie reviews, TV show reviews. It's real funny. It's black owned. I don't know if it's black owned, but I definitely know it's black operated. Yes. But those guys, I think they're based out of Houston or somewhere in Texas.
Either Houston or around the Dallas area, I think.
Dallas area, yeah. But they're real funny. Check them out when you're not checking out what's going on here at Post Wrestling, or what's going on at the Kings of Sport, or what's going on with Chinyere Okafor. Check out Double Toasted. Shout out to the Toasties. But Ray, now that we back from that tangent, what else did you think? Was this a full price or matinee, Ray?
Well, that's what I was trying to think. I was like, would it be like, would I pay the full $50? Would I get my VPN on and maybe pay that $20
various means
at AEW Plus? Exactly. Would I go to Nefarious Mean Communication, or would I wait
for the Black Friday pay-per-view sale?
Right, or just stick with the Twitter and just stick with all the clips and stuff. So I think, like you guys, of course, I think there's a consensus. I need to go out and watch that Swerve versus I need to pay full to see that Swerve and Hangman match. Everything else, I think I would probably go the Nefarious Means route. But I do think that
real quick we got a confirmation, Ray. Double Toasted, based out of Waco, which I think makes it the greatest thing undeniably that has ever came out of or happened in Waco.
Yeah. Shout out to David Koresh and
I was gonna say the Branch Davidians. Hold on, time out. I know everybody talks about I didn't have that on my 2023 bingo card, Ray. Shout out to David Koresh. A sentence uttered on the NWA podcast on Post Wrestling is something I don't think anybody had on their 2023 bingo card. Shout out to the homie David Koresh.
Wow. But Yeah, I think that match, that match by itself was worth full price for full admission. I do think that there were some other matches like that triple threat for the TBS title that were kind of overshadowed. I think some moments like Will Ospreay signing fully with AEW were kind of overshadowed. But overall, I think the show was decent. Now I think the aftermath is going to be the most interesting thing. Like, where do we go with Will Ospreay? I heard that the Young Bucks, they're saying that they're going to take a hiatus. What's happening with that? Where are we going to go? Are we going to see a full steam ahead behind Swerve? So I think the questions afterwards are the most interesting thing. And I just think that particular match is, as far as what was on the show, that was the highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say I didn't really feel the sting of Ospreay signing with AEW the way I probably should have, only because he's been with the company for the last year, you know? And I think it was just kind of like, this is what I expected him to do. So I wasn't, not like it was a bad thing. This is a big deal, but I'm just saying I didn't, you know, it wasn't like
it just your shock value because you've seen him on AEW a lot.
Right. Yeah. It would just be like if WWE announced that Jade is finally there, you know, like
if they announced, like, I mean, what I'm about to say, like, I guess something similar along those lines to be like, okay, Jade Cargill is like officially on this brand. It's like,
right.
We know she's here.
Yeah.
But like, just where is she going type thing. Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, and real quick on the Ospreay thing, like, it just made sense to me. Like, WWE is something that will always be there, or not always, but you know, he signed a 5-year contract, I believe, Andrew, with AEW.
3. It's a 3-year.
Okay, so he's what, 30 now?
He's 30.
So yeah, like, if I'm Will Ospreay, I'm not giving Vince the best years of my life. I'm not giving Vince the prime. Chinyere, I'm giving Vince like the 36, 37-year-old Will Ospreay, which is still gonna be a damn good Will Ospreay, but you ain't getting the prime, Vince.
When you listed as a seasoned veteran.
Yes. Well, we show up as this seasoned veteran Will Ospreay making his debut on night 2 of WrestleMania, the real main event. Like, that's what you gonna get when Will Ospreay's like 37, 38. You don't give Vince the prime of your life.
Yeah, nah, Definitely. I feel like it was the best decision for him to go with AEW, especially because I saw somewhere that he's gonna continue to reside in the UK, which I think is what he wanted in the first place. So with WWE, I don't think that would have been possible. So that's definitely gonna work out well for him and for AEW. But yeah, I definitely do agree with Kris in terms of that.
Yes, as Black Mega Man says, the AJ Styles strategy. Wait till you an old head in the game, then you can go to Vince.
Yeah.
When you can just relax and take it easy. And
get the paper.
Yeah, I definitely agree though with Kris in terms of that. Like, it would have been better had we not already seen him in AEW before. Then it would be like, okay, now this is really like a big deal. It still is a big deal, but like, it would have been bigger if it was his first time, or like we were just now anticipating his first time in an AEW ring.
Yeah. So now what I want to do, because we've got a couple other topics we got to hit. Like I mentioned, we want to hit those WWE merch numbers. We want to hit our sister Jade Cargill. But since we do have Ray and Chinyere here, and if you just tuned in late to the NWA podcast, you missed the big announcement, even bigger than Will Ospreay signing with AEW. The big announcement that Chinyere Okafor and rookie Ray Williams are going to be bringing a brand new combat sports podcast to the game starting next month, called Spinning Blackfist, available on the Kings of Sport Network. So let's talk a little something that's MMA adjacent, something that it might even be AEW or at least ROH adjacent. And let's talk about our girl Ronda Rousey, Ronda Latifa Rousey, on these because she's like, ain't she like 136 black on a granddaddy's cousin side?
Her mom. Yeah, go ahead.
It's somebody, one of her grandparents or something like that. I think I seen that article that article was going around. What was that, some years ago, something like that? Her grandfather, so one of her grandparents or somebody around that generation, I think, is black.
Yeah, he was the first I'll have to look it up, but he was like the first something is what her mom said. So then everyone start putting like a kufi on her.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So now we got Cody Devontae Rhodes in the WWE, and we've got Ronda.
Okay,
Latifah Rousey.
Ronda's great grandfather was black. Here we go.
Ooh, her great grandfather, twice removed.
But he was somebody special though, according to her mom.
He was.
Like he says he was the first something. Is what
I'm looking it up right now. But Essence got an article about this.
Essence,
bro.
Essence.
Wow.
I'm serious when Essence is writing about it.
Right.
Sister Rousey. Here
Was she at the Essence?
Yeah, it's a her great grandfather was one of the first. Google ain't fucking with me right now, but there we go. Yeah, Google ain't messing with me right now, but I think it was one of the first black American physicians. I believe that's
Dr. Rousey.
That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, her great grandfather was definitely somebody special. Shout out to Ronda.
Shout out to Ronda Latifah Rousey on these streets.
Latifah. Latifah.
Hey, y'all
Latifah and Devontae.
Y'all were clowning me when I thought Juice Robinson had some parts. See, I didn't even know. I didn't even know Ronda Rousey.
Hey Ray, I swear I remember when you said Juice Robinson, bro. Like when we got off the podcast, I laughed. I laughed about that.
I know you saw the last episode, but Ray thought Juice Robinson was a part of the culture, Chinyere, because of the hair.
I mean, I see it. I do see it, but I'm also.
But let's talk about Ronda. So this past weekend, was this past weekend?
Yeah.
She was at the she was at the Wrestling Revolver show.
Yes.
And
was she teamed with Marina Shafir against Athena?
Yeah, and Billy Starks. And then they transitioned it over to the post collision tapings. I think it was after Collision. After Rampage, and they had the ROH tapings, and Ronda Rousey was present, and they ran it back, or they did some type of angle involvement that year. It was the same. They basically ran the match back that they had at the Wrestling Revolver. And yeah, Ronda Rousey during Ronda debut. Tony Khan, he did say at the press conference that she's not signed, but it was a local thing because Ronda's a Cali resider. Yep. And it was just easy logistically to bring her in, and he said that he's open and he would be happy to have her back. But Ronda is not signed to AEW ROH. But I think a lot of people are looking at the Final Battle pay-per-view, and it might speculating that it might be her versus Athena. Mm-hmm. And like if you are looking to get more subscriptions, like I to be honest with you, bro, like I don't know like how much star power in like the wrestling space that Ronda Rousey still has. Like it seems like there might be a contingent of people who are still excited, but from the book when I've seen it, kind of seems like people are just kind of like, oh yeah, Ronda Rousey. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what kind of it feels like. But if you are looking to drive up those Honor Club subscriptions, I mean, a main event match between Ronda and Athena, who I think has been one of the best champions in wrestling this year. Like Athena, she has been fucking killing it, bro. I'm talking about just in ring promos, doing her stuff with the Starks and the whole Minion thing, even including Lexi Nair and the whole, you know what I'm saying, including the backstage interview and doing that stuff, bro. Like I feel like Athena is like having the run of her career, and like and I know people were like had that thought of like, oh man, she could be doing an AEW. I mean, she could be doing an AEW, but she's doing it in ROH. So you know what I'm saying?
So watch ROH.
So watch what the fuck she's
support
doing.
What she's doing.
I'm gonna tell you this.
She's having a great run right now, dog.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Ronda Rousey gets like a ridiculous contract offer from WWE after doing that stuff. That seems like a politicking move right there. It's like ROH is just in LA and I'm appearing. I can see Triple H giving her a call. Hey Ronda,
do the voice.
Yeah, I can't do the voice.
Ronda, it's Paul. Just I saw some things online the other day. We still good, right?
Right, yeah. If you want to come back, we could talk about
to Death Row.
Yeah.
But I think back and work with the game.
Come back and work with the game.
Right,
Kris, like Andrew brought up a point, like this could be something like he doesn't know what the appetite is for wrestling fans for Ronda, but I think this could just be a one-off thing. you know,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they were in her backyard and like, cool, she wants to support her girl Marina, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think if you're TK and you are playing three-dimensional chess and you're playing a long game, I don't give a damn if wrestling fans don't have an appetite for Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Because people in those boardrooms at those networks,
Right.
they know Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
That's a start to them. And so the long game might be, wrestling fans might not give a damn about this lady, but the guy who runs this network, you know, True TV, the True TV executive might be like, hey, we're on the WB family. You think you can get Ronda Rousey on our network? Like, well, you know, she's going to be on this ROH show if you'd like to purchase this.
Hey, Nate, and then on top of that, you could probably get some talks going with Ronda Rousey being on your network versus, you know, sniffing cocaine on your pay-per-view. There you go.
They got
NWA.
they got I mean, WWE did just get Jade, you know.
Yeah.
And I do think that Ronda Rousey is comparable to Jade if that was a get. You know, I never really was a big like the Edge and Jade thing. I didn't really look at them on equal footing. I thought that they were just two different things. But them taking one of your who's groomed to be your top female star, and now them answering back with getting Ronda Rousey. That's this is another sign that this wrestling
the game is afoot.
Real, This is how we do it in the streets, you know. It's like this is like this is.
Would you say like more so what you thinking? It's like a even playing field in terms of trade off, in terms of those talents. As opposed to because I feel like with Adam Copeland, we were talking about, I feel like he just got so much equity. Just
he
like
does.
It's not, you know, I don't think that's like a thing to like, I guess, like try to throw on Jade, I guess, in terms of
I don't think that's
you know
I never thought that. I never bought that comparison. I understood what people were trying to do with it,
right?
But I thought that was just kind of a very like an apples to steak comparison. I think this Ronda thing, and even the Ronda thing isn't all the way fair to Jade, because Ronda has just had so much.
They started before wrestling.
She's just been around for so long. But as far as top women go, Ronda Rousey, say what you want about her. I know people hate. I know Chrissy Love, the homegirl.
Chrissy can't stand Ronda Rousey. Y'all need to check out this week's edition of True Heel Heat, where Chrissy and Sid talked about Ronda Rousey potentially coming to AEW or ROH, and Chrissy is not here for it.
But the thing is she's a name, you know,
right.
and she's a brand. So, and I think that if TK is smart, he can look at where WWE messed up with her and do better by her, you know. Because I really
trying to make her a babyface, Chris.
Yeah, I think
trying to make this unlikable person a babyface.
Well, I thought the babyface stuff I didn't mind it that she started like cracking on people that like avocado toast and stuff like that. Like she was doing like weird promos. That just
really eat avocado toast, Chris.
I that's my wife is an avocado toast head. That's not my thing.
It's not your game.
Yeah, but you know, if that's you, that's you. You know, I ain't got to be cracking on, you know, avocado toast heads and all that. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying that Ronda is very like if they got Ronda Rousey, I would consider that a get. I don't think it's something to just be like, oh yeah, they just got Ronda Rousey. Oh well, that's not. I wouldn't be doing that with Ronda Rousey. Yeah. I think that's a serious get if they got her.
So final battle is 3 weeks from now. It's on December 15th. Do the match. Athena versus Ronda, ROH.
Hell yeah.
That's your headliner right there.
Back the money up, Tony.
That's your headliner right there. Honestly, bro, like the the thing with Ronda, like she's like in terms of her like in ring ability. I've always been kind of like, you know, like I guess so on it. But I also think it depends on who you put her in the ring with.
Right.
And I think if you put her in the ring with Athena, it's gonna be well worth the wait. I think that those two would do something real special if they do that match. But I think that's the match you go with, Athena versus Ronda, main event, final battle.
Night two.
That's night two. That's the match though, bro.
Yeah. Chi, I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, obviously, you're somebody that's watched Ronda, you know, in both arenas, you know, in the combat sports and the MMA world, and then transitioning to wrestling with the WWE.
You cover this woman, yeah.
And now she's out here. She's out here on these independent streets, if you will. What did you make of Ronda popping up the other day? And do you feel like she would sign with AEW, or could this, to Kris's point, could this be a bargaining chip? You know, maybe I'm here to help out my homegirl Marina, but also, hey, I'm trying to, you know, leverage this to maybe get back in with WWE. Or here's the thing too, man. I feel like, and this might sound disrespectful, Chi, but I feel like if I'm Ronda, I'm like, yo, all my girls is eating right now. Most of my girls is eating. Shayna eating good. I got my girl Marina. I'm trying to prop her up. I need to give Jessamine Duke some love, because Jessamine ain't had a hot meal in this wrestling game for a minute. She been out here eating peanut butter and Ritz crackers for dinner, and that ain't right, man. Somebody give Jessamine Duke some love on these streets.
But I think she still work for. I think she's working with like Xavier Woods, like on the Up Down, like she's like an editor, something like that. Like she like heavily like into that, like doing that type of stuff. I don't think that she like.
Okay, so she out here eating grilled cheese. Then I ain't gonna say it's
Ritz crackers. Grilled cheese.
She got but it's like the good grilled cheese, Andrew.
Yeah,
on sourdough bread.
With like
Gouda, yeah.
With the Gouda, yeah. So she eating that gourmet, that bougie grilled cheese. But Chinyere, what do you think about Ronda showing up? And is this a good look for your girl Rowdy?
When she first popped up at Pro Wrestling Revolver, I was a bit confused, not gonna lie. I was a bit confused as to what exactly her motivation was. Because I was like, are you trying to get back in or not? Because prior to that, people were actually talking about her potentially making a return to the world of MMA, right? Potentially the UFC or maybe even Bellator. And so we were all kind of looking forward to that. And we're like, okay, maybe she's going to land up there, or maybe she's just going to head back to, you know, WWE or even AEW. But for her to just pop up at some independent show, it was kind of confusing. But now I kind of feel like I think she's just trying to have fun, honestly. It looks like she's just trying to have fun. And you know what? Good for her, if that's the case. Good for her. And I definitely do think that she could help elevate Athena, right? She could definitely help elevate her and bring her name into the forefront, essentially. Ronda is still a person who has a lot of draw in the world of combat sports, particularly in MMA. Like a lot of MMA journalists and a lot of MMA people still look at her, and like whenever like her name pops up, with even if it's tied to a event, they will like follow it and they'll actually look at what's happening. So even if maybe wrestling fans aren't too excited about Ronda, it is one of the things where it could still help with just combat sports in general, you know, getting those MMA fans to actually tune in, even if it's just for her match, even if it's just for the highlights or whatever. So I think she is just honestly having fun. I don't see her signing long term or signing to any sort of deal right now. But I do think that she is just here to have fun, and I definitely could see her potentially, you know, doing a little something with Athena, and I think that would be a good look for Athena. So yeah, I'm here for it.
So,
what about you,
Ronda? Oh, you go ahead, Ray. No,
I was gonna toss it over to, so we can get our spinning black fist breakdown of what's going on here. It's a little preview, y'all, of what y'all gonna get in December. Spinning black fist, don't miss it. It's gonna hit like a Gouda grilled cheese sandwich. It's gonna be that good. Ray, what do you think about Ronda showing up? And do you think that we will see this match with Athena in ROH?
Well, it's kind of interesting that Chinyere brought up the possibility of her going back into MMA, because us on the show actually talked about that on the last episode last month. And I was strictly under the, yeah, she don't want that smoke no more.
No.
And so and so
after Holly Holm kicked the soul out of her body.
Yeah. Yeah, and then my girl came after and just the lioness, Amanda Nunes, just pretty much just stomped her while she was down pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think I am kind of surprised that she did make this return too. But also considering that she is herself a huge wrestling fan, not just a WWE, but of the independent stuff. Let's not forget, even before she got into WWE, she was showing up at PWG shows. So I think that she is doing it as a favor for Marina. I think it is close for her. But also I think, and it was kind of interesting that you guys did bring up the fact that she may want to look at it into like a bargaining trip or having some side or some sort of leverage in order to get back, because I didn't even realize what the status of her as far as her contract was concerned with WWE. I don't know, like, and maybe Andrew, you can kind of elaborate on this. Is she fully released? Is she under a
she a free agent, bro.
She's
a
free
agent.
Okay.
Free agent, yeah.
So, I mean, again, it might be a way of her maybe putting that flyer out there as far as maybe getting back into pro wrestling as a whole, and maybe one day going back to WWE. The thing is, kind of going back to her last program with Shayna, that was pretty much the only program in which they tapped into when they were kind of doing that UFC countdown style of promo video, where it's kind of like they were honing in on who she is, because every time that she was live, it was kind of like she was babyface one day, then she's heel the next, then she's talking about, oh, I'm the good guy, then she's talking about, hey Shayna, you fat. But I just like it's kind of like, where's the character at? And then that was
the place,
and I
forgot about that.
Yeah, it was kind of like that was the only time that they can hone in, or let's just revert back to who she is as a martial artist, and let's just go back to who she is, like the real Ronda Rousey. And so I think that if TK does want, because we don't know how much more, like we don't know if TK will have to back up the Brinks truck, because maybe Ronda's in the mode of, well, I'll continue to, especially like, how do you treat me? If you're treating me well, I could still do favors. Or maybe she is to the point of, well, I was a main star back here. I was like one of the head women's champions here, so you got to pay me that money. And I doubt that they're going to keep her on ROH forever if that's the case. But in terms of having her at the moment, I think it's not a blessing, but I think that it's a real fortunate play for AEW and for ROH, and I would be absolutely ecstatic to see that match between Athena and her.
I think they could put her in like the Blackpool Combat Club or something like that.
That would be interesting.
Because the thing about AEW that makes like more sense for someone like Ronda Rousey is they have a lot more situational faces and situational heels. Like
good point.
Moxley on any given night could be a heel or a face, and so could Claudio and the rest of those cats. And I think in a faction like that, she could probably do the same kind of thing, have her beat up Smart Mark Sterling or something, and just kind of
you just got a beef with that man.
Well, I like Mark Sterling. It's just, it's like he's there for that. So
throw him around.
So you could do it's. I think this is a good time to be a wrestling fan. Is the fact that I know this is a one-off, but if they could pull this off, it would show you that along with them signing Ospreay, it'll show you that AEW is here to stay, and they're not just going to be giving up talent to WWE. like the prevailing narrative I've seen over the last couple of months since Jade left. I think no, this is a battle. These two are going to be making plays for talent, and whoever's got the best offer is going to get said talent.
And that's good for the business. It's good for the fans. And real quick, Andrew, and I'm gonna kick it to you. Like, I think this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Kris Ealy is the professor, because we all have thoughts about how Ronda could be used, but I think that Blackpool Combat Club idea was genius. Yeah. Because here's the idea I was gonna go with, Ray, when you mentioned, like, if you give Ronda all this money, you're not gonna keep her on ROH Island because that's dumb. She's eventually gonna transition to the main roster in AEW. I was like, yo, instead of thinking logically and rationally, like, the Blackpool Combat Club would be an excellent landing spot for Ronda Rousey. I'm like, yo, Ronda Rousey and Timeless Tony Storm. I need all that shenanigans. I need all of that bullshittery in my life.
Yeah.
I was going to add, like, with like Ronda, like the whole. This is like, it is the purpose for her coming back, like that Revolver show that she was on. That was for like a charity event. So that, like, she worked with Sami Callihan to, like, organizing the proceeds for that show. Went to this, I think it was like a Hawaiian relief fund. So because her husband is Hawaiian, so he's like Heart Hawaiian or something like that. So that was the reason for her to do that Revolver show. And as far as like AEW and ROH goes, I think that'll just be like similar to what all of us have said. Like, it'll just be like something that we'll see as it goes on. But like, dude, Final Battle 3 weeks away. Like, if you want to do this, you know what I'm saying?
Where's
like,
that taking place from, Andrew?
Where's Final Battle from? Garland, Texas.
Okay, that's not too far.
Garland, Texas. It's in Garland, Texas, at the Curtis Caldwell Center. So, but what I think is going to happen is, I think that they'll announce it when that episode of ROH on Honor Club airs. So next Thursday. Or next Thursday, I think that'll air, and then that's when I think we'll get the official announcement between Ronda and Athena. Because I mean, but that's if you looking to get Athena like a big win, that's it right there.
And a big audience,
and Ronda willing to do business. There you go.
Yep.
And like how Kris said, if it could be some long term in terms of like her joining the roster full time, I mean the Blackpool Combat Club don't sound like a bad idea. I mean, Mox. Like, but I wouldn't even call Mox a heel, but he go out there every week, bro. And he gets like some of the biggest reaction. People love Mox, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the saying, like, by Claudio and Wheeler being affiliated with him, and Claudio is his own person anyway. But I'm talking about, like, they get the. Well, it seems like in the Blackpool Combat Club, like, there's no definitive thing as far as you're a babyface or a heel. It's just like these people just like these individuals because they beat the shit out of everybody, and then like everybody in the group feeds off of that. And then you got Danielson in there too, and everybody fucking loves Brian. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Brian, like, you can't even call Brian a heel. Like, I mean, he can be in a sense in terms of his in-ring work, but everybody fucking loves Danielson. Everybody loves Mox, and I think that everybody within that group gets to feed off of that. But I think with Ronda, it'll be an interesting dynamic, because I had saw one of the people that was at the show, like, they was getting, in terms of like the reaction to it, there was like a "we love Ronda" and "no we don't,"
yeah,
and no we don't chant. You know what I'm saying? So like, it will be interesting to see that dynamic within the Blackpool Combat Club. But I mean, they kind of got a good thing going on their own right now, so you know, it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, so those are our thoughts on Ronda Rousey dipping her toe back into the world of professional wrestling, brought to you by the Nubian Wrestling Advocates and the Spinning Blackfist podcast, available next month on the Kings of Sport. I'm doing a lot of promoting for a show that we don't even have a damn release date for, Ray.
You gotta get the feelers out.
You gonna make me look real crazy when this show don't end till like January 5th.
This the pre, what was they called, the on sale
yeah. You gonna make me look real crazy though, Ray, when I done hyped you up for December and this show come out like January 5th. That's right there, dog. The CPT.
Can we talk about?
Were you going to the merch topic, Kris?
Not to the merch yet, but
where do you want to go?
Well, we get to go to I wanted to talk about this Dave Meltzer. I don't know if this is a real quote from him or not on Jade Cargill. It's spreading across my Twitter. Again, this isn't verified because I did look it up. So I couldn't verify it, but but everybody is saying that this is something that he said. And
with those Meltzer thing, but I gotta hear it for myself because like I ain't gonna lie, like I see so many quotes like when I'm covering.
I'm not a meme guy at all.
I see so many quotes of like people like they'll post stuff of his that they contextualize it as if it's like reporting, and then I go listen to it and it's just opinion. He's like giving his opinion. So like whenever I see those like quotes,
no, this isn't.
This is one of those things where I gotta hear it for myself because I see a lot of that, bro. And it's like, and then when I actually go hear it, it's like, well, it wasn't like put that way.
Context.
You know what I'm saying?
This
different context.
This isn't a report from them. This quote isn't a report.
So it's opinion.
It's an opinion thing, and I'm curious as to if we give this any weight. And it says it's Dave Meltzer on Jade Cargill, and the quote says, "My gut is WWE probably just saw Jade Cargill wrestle, and now they are not sure as to why she hasn't been fully fleshed into the product yet."
I mean, that's again, like you said, that's kind of just his opinion. I'm guessing if that's how he exactly worded and contextualized it. But the way I'm looking at Jay's is they wanted to bring her in, immediately present her as a big deal, and then find a spot for her on television to properly place her instead of just throwing her into some random storyline. Like I saw a lot of people like suggesting the idea of her being the fourth person in the women's war games. She has no fucking correlation to any of these people. Like why would she? Like bro, for what reason would she have to want to be affiliated with these individuals in this match? Like even though it would be a big spot for her.
Yeah.
Like like you know, so after she done had stare downs with most of these individuals, then everybody's waiting on the eventual one that she's gonna have with Bianca. Like she's had them with Charlotte and Becky and stuff like that. I just don't see a reason for Jade to be, even from a character standpoint, to even want to be affiliated with anybody. Right. And I think that a perfect spot for Jade's debut would be for her to do it as a solo act and to have a big moment for herself without anybody taking away from that moment. Like it's just her moment and her moment only, and then you can start intertwining her with other talent. But as far as what the quote or how it was presented, I mean, I mean, I ain't even gonna lie. I don't really have no fucking opinion on it, to be honest with you. Like, it just sounds like somebody's opinion. Like, I don't really, like whatever. Okay.
And my thing is, like, to me, like, if this is his opinion, like, his opinion on what they may be thinking, if that's what they may be thinking, I don't put a lot of weight behind it because it's not like Vince don't own a TV. It's not like Triple H don't own a TV. Not like Nick Khan don't own a TV where you could watch this woman's matches and see what her strengths are and what are some things that she needs to work on. It's like, it ain't like she's been wrestling in somebody's backyard for the last 2 years. Exactly. Like she's been on national TV week in and week out. So to be like,
it's like, she's 2 years in, bro.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. Like you know what you're getting. It's like if you're scouting for the draft and you watching this kid's footage every week in and week out, looking at the games, and then you're like, he gets to your team and you in training camp, you're like, he has a problem scrambling. And it's like, well, he had a problem scrambling his senior year, his junior year, his sophomore year, and damn sure had a problem scrambling his freshman year. Why are you surprised he's having a scrambling problem when you get to the league? And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that they're somehow shocked. They're like, we thought she could wrestle, and she doesn't know a headlock she doesn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. I'm like, come on now.
I will say this. I don't think that I'm with you on that, and you too, Andrew. I will say this. I don't think they fully understand what they have with Jade yet. And I will agree with that. Yeah. I want to see evidence that they do. I thought for all of AEW's faults in how they never put Jade in any salient storylines.
She was playing in the SWAC for 2 years.
I thought that they still made her always look strong and like someone. She always looked like the final boss. And she was treated like that, and they kept it very, very simple with her. And I've got the fear that in WWE they will overcomplicate things with her, and that they will say, we've already got Bianca and we've already got, this person and that person and Jade. And I hope they don't make her go through some dumbass fucking crucible to prove that she's on the level of, your Charlottes and the other women. I think that she needs to be brought in and presented, because WWE does this. I don't know if new corporate WME WWE is doing this crap, but they do. They used to sign wrestlers just so they could put them through like stupid crucibles. They, and have them like reach for this invisible brass ring just to say that, oh, they couldn't cut it. And I'm hoping that they're done with that chapter is all I'm saying. And Meltzer, if he is having opinions on like this, again, you don't want to put too much stock into opinions like this, but I really, really, really hope it's not true. And that's all I'll say about that.
Well, I just think that they can find ways. It's not like you haven't been in this situation before. It's like literally you had a similar situation with China, and granted that was like 20 years ago, but it's like
no, it's the same thing.
Yeah, you got this big muscular woman who may not be perfect in the ring, but you find spots to put her in, and you book her as such and book her as that big deal. And let's not forget, you can't tell me that you're being cautious over Jade and her wrestling yet. And please, Nate, I don't want this to be day 10.
Don't you do it, Ray. Don't you do it.
I don't want this to be day 10.
You on thin ice right now, Ray.
Say her
grand
name.
Opening, grand closings for spinning blackfist.
say her name. I'll say her name.
Don't mess up the money for Chinyere.
I'll say it.
Don't do it, Kris.
And you can finish the sentence. You can finish the sentence.
Don't
right?
you do it.
I mean, again,
show some heart rate.
You took the words out. You took the words out of my mouth, Kris. You got a woman who's proven to actually hurt people in the ring, and then she comes back and does a similar thing where she's either negligent, or she's just clumsy, or it's a little bit of both. She's not like
most girls, right?
But it's like she's
not some plastic little princess.
You're allowing this person to come
Lucky
back.
for you, she's not like most girls.
I'm just saying.
Nate ain't allowing no Nia Jax slam on this podcast.
I know exactly.
It ain't happening. Nate ain't hearing it. He ain't for it.
That's not what we trying to do this week, Ray.
I'll just say I'll stir it back. I'll stir it back to Jade. I'll stir it back to Jade. You shouldn't be worried about Jade if you got people like that in there. Is all I'm saying. So it's you can fix it.
But the thing with Jade, I'm like, okay, I just think it's just a matter of like something that we talked about on this podcast, like consistently. It's just a matter of her getting those consistent reps in.
Yeah.
Like, bro, she had. I mean, what I'm assuming is that she's at the performance center right now, and then they like working her out and like getting her some. Pretty sure they're doing like some training, some PC matches that they do down there. I think it's just that type of situation. I think once she gets up to the main roster, it just be a matter of like, when she's on TV and you just have her doing regular appearances, it might be important for her to do the Friday night live event, the Saturday night live event, the Sunday night live event, and have her keep doing that consistently. The only way she will get better is you gotta keep wrestling. Like, bro, she had a couple like really, really solid matches this year. Like the one with Sky Blue at Battle of the Belts in January, one of her best matches in AEW with Kris Statlander. And like how Chinyere said, Statlander is a fucking beast. So you know what I'm saying? Like if you when you're looking at talents that you want somebody to be in the ring with, if they like still fresh or they a couple years in, like Statlander is definitely one of those people. So I really wasn't even surprised when they went out there and had that match. But I think it's just more so like Jade just consistently getting those reps in. But the thing is with Jade, you can't just find people that look like Jade.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just find a motherfucker walking down the street that look like Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
And you can teach her how to wrestle. You can't teach nobody how to look.
Yeah, you can't find a woman that like a dude like Bow Wow is just willing to risk a Brandon Phillips fade so he could shoot a shot. You know, that's not, you ain't gonna find too many women like Jade like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause there's certain women where it's like, oh yeah, she's beautiful,
but she looks like a star, dog.
Yeah, like I don't
want. And she carries herself like a star. She has a presence.
If y'all was sitting in a restaurant and you see Jade Cargill walking in, you would turn your head, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, she has that star presence, and I think that it's just a matter of you got to give her the reps. Like, it's the only way. Like, I always been big in wrestling. Like, this always been my ideology about like just making things simplistic. If you really want to find out how good somebody is, or you want to see what they can do, if they can ascend to that next level, throw them in the damn water and find out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't do it, then you're never gonna find out. And if you just sit idle on Jade the whole time because you're worried if she's not gonna deliver or be up to par, then you're never gonna find out. So the only way to find out is to throw her in the fire, see what she got, and if she delivers, you hit jackpot. And if she don't deliver in the way that you think, then fucking go back to plan A and just figure it out again and like have her send her back to the PC and like have her work at it. And then when she's ready and you feel like she's ready, then you know go back at it. But but it's just a matter of like, you know, just testing it out and see how it goes. But I prefer what they're doing now and not rushing her just on TV just to throw her on some random storyline just to get her on TV. Like, when you find the right spot, wait till it's the right moment and then deliver on it. Like, I mean, go ahead, Chris.
My only kickback, and this isn't really kickback, the only thing with that is I think when you sign this woman, you should already be proven what she's going to be doing. You shouldn't be having to think about this. It's like,
and it kind of felt like when they first, had that week, like that stretch where she shows up at the pay-per-view and then she shows up at Raw and then she shows up at NXT. It was just like they were like, hey, she's here, but we don't know what she's doing yet. But
exactly. Like when AEW signed Edge, easy. We're putting them with Christian and Sting and these cats. That's what it should be like with Jade. It should be something that it seems like a lot of thinking is going on. It's getting to the point where it's starting to worry. Like, have you ever been sitting in a classroom and you're waiting for students to get done with their exams? And there's some students that get done and they get done right at the last minute and they turn into a perfect exam. And even though they're taking forever, they're just making sure it's good. And then you get those students that's like, hey, can I go back to your office and finish the exam? And you're like, yeah, sure, go to the office. And it's like, now it's spilling over to your lunch break. And it's like, okay.
Chris just trying to eat his grilled Gouda cheese sandwich.
Like, what are we doing? Are you like your grade ain't gonna get any better? You know what I'm saying? let's take whatever grade you're gonna get and move on.
Chris said, now you wasting both our time.
Let's see with Chris' point. I do think, Chris, that's a really good point. But what I would say to like, I guess counterpoint or just add on to it, I think with Edge, you don't got no fucking time to waste. He's 49. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no time to be wasting with this dude. And I think especially with Tony Khan's way of thinking, especially with what has happened over the past year with Sting wrapping up in 2024, and then on top of that, Danielson wrapping up in 2024. It's four time talent. I just think that maybe he's of the mindset of like, we got to get him in immediately. As far as with Jade, they may be more like, let's just take it a little bit slow. But I definitely do think that that's a fair point in terms of like, you should have, if you're going to promote it like that out the get-go, it would have been best if you'd have had something lined up immediately. But at the same time, I am also thinking of like, I'm glad that they're not just throwing her into something just to throw her in something. And then she ended up being on TV anyway because they didn't have some long-term lined up. And then you just putting her on like wherever just to do it. You know what I'm saying?
So let's bring Chi back in here because you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna be disrespectful like some people like your future co-host Ray Williams and just call people's names out and put people on blast. But I will say, like, is Jade, the greatest bell-to-bell women's wrestler on the planet? Of course not. But I would say, like, dog, what she does well, you can't find that in too many other performers. And so to me, it's like, like if your goal is like, we're gonna take a little bit more time so she learns the quote unquote WWE style, I can get that. But if you're like, she can't wrestle, I'm like, what you been watching? Because I can look at NXT and some of your own people in your backyard.
Yeah, I know,
and say,
right?
what the hell they doing on my TV screen on USA on Wednesday nights?
Yes, exactly.
So what do you think about how they've kind of brought Jade along, Chinyere, from her signing to kind of parading her out on some of these shows, and then we're just kind of, putting her back in the lab and letting her cook for a minute? Well, what do you think of what they've done with Jade? What would you have done differently, or do you think they're doing the right thing?
First of all, I think Jade is a big star, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big star. People who have my number are subjected to constant pictures of her because I am. But basically, it's one of those things where when she signed with the WWE, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Like, as in, like, people who are not even in the pro wrestling space were talking about it and were like, yo, who is this? Like, what's going on with her? Type of thing, right? And then they kind of like were showing her around, giving like this whole parade around different shows and all of that. And it was fun. But then now it does kind of feel a bit like, okay, but then is there a plan with her? Or are you guys just hoping that something eventually pops up or something, catches? And I think when Halloween Havoc Night 2, I think it was, when we had,
main event.
But when we had Becky Lynch and Lyra, when we had them fighting for the women's championship, and she was like they type of thing. I thought that was going to be where they actually did something, because she appeared on the screen and she was like kind of symbolizing something, but they haven't really done anything with her. But with Jade, my problem is, my fear actually when it comes to Jade is that I fear that they might hold out too long. And then by the time that they want to bring her in, it's going to be around WrestleMania season, and she's going to get lost in the shuffle. And I don't want that to happen. I'd rather she comes in and she just be a big star by herself, and she gets to do what she needs to do, and be that bitch essentially, as she says so well, So I'm just ready for it. But yeah, I definitely don't throw her into just any random storyline. But also at the same time, let's try to get her there before WrestleMania season starts.
Right. Mm-hmm. I just gotta say this: Triple H, cut the shit.
But I think at the latest that I think we'll see Jay, and I think this, like, if they don't have something concrete for her by like at least something lined up by December, I think that the latest that we should see her before, like, I start to have those like personal, I guess, concerns about her, like where the direction is the Royal Rumble, because that just seems like such an easy thing to just have her in a Rumble. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like in that way we can set something up for WrestleMania season and have her first big program by eliminating, whoever she chooses to eliminate, and that's how you go about that certain thing. But
let's do it. Dream match. Dream match.
I can't wait for that, because we're gonna see Nate True Colors on that day when we do the NWA podcast in January or February. We're gonna see Nate True Colors, man, who he really rocking with. But like, I think that's the latest that I hope that we get some. Jay's next appearance is that the Royal Rumble, because like anything after that, that's when it's like, all right, like what the fuck is going on around here? You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I'll start having those personal, because the Royal Rumble just seemed like such a layup.
Easy, yeah. So that's our thoughts on the good sister Jade Cargill. We see you out here, even though you're not on our TVs. Kris, you want to hit this merch topic, because I know you dropped a note to me and Andrew in the chat. This is going to be a segment for everybody listening and watching, whether live or in the future. And don't forget, if you do have comments on whether it's Jade Cargill, whether it's Nia Jax, whether it's any of the topics we talked about, hit us with them super chats. Tell Ray why he is wrong. WRONG. But Kris, you brought up this topic about the top merch sellers in the WWE, and I will toss the baton to you with a quote from a great movie that all of the postmarks should watch if they haven't watched it in their life. A movie called Do the Right Thing. And there's a scene in Do the Right Thing, Kris, where Mookie and his friends go to their local pizza parlor, Sal's Pizzeria, Andrew. And there's a famous scene where, they're in this pizzeria in the middle of Brooklyn, and you got all these great stars on the wall. You got a picture of Frank Sinatra and Joe DiMaggio and Larry Bird, I think, and there's a lot of great legendary figures in the entertainment world. Elvis Presley, and Bugging Out, played by Giancarlo Esposito, looks up at these pictures and he's like, "Hey Sal, why you ain't got no brothers on the wall? The only people I see come in this restaurant is brothers, but you ain't got no brothers on the wall." And Sal, played by Danny Aiello, like, "This is Sal's Pizzeria. If you want to put brothers on the wall, open up your own pizzeria. This is what people that come to Sal's want." And so that's kind of what I'm thinking when I'm seeing this list of the top 10 merch sellers in WWE, Chris. How come you ain't got no brothers and sisters on the wall?
Right.
Hey, Chris, you got the WrestleNomics link? You got that?
I don't have the WrestleNomics link.
Hey, Chris, you on your PC right now, right?
I'm on my tablet. I'm on my trusty iPad Pro.
Ooh, I'm about to send you Chris, I'm about to send you the link in the group chat, bro. About oh shit. So yeah, I'm about to send you the link in the group chat. I got the WrestleNomics link pulled. They had you was right about what you said. They got Brandon Thurston had his list, and then he had WWE's list.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna choose Brandon's list over.
Yes. Shout out to our light-skinned cousin Brandon.
But the one thing that I remember about the both lists is there were no brothers or sisters on that list, man. It was unless you count the Samoans, and I kind of did.
And Cody Devontae Rhodes.
Yeah, I kind of.
Hey, Chris, I just sent it to you, bro.
Okay, cool.
So this list is coming from Brandon Thurston from WrestleMania.
It's two of them, Nate. Brandon. So the first list that.
So there's the Brandon list, the right list.
Brandon put WWE's list first, and he said it's suggesting the listing refers to sales year to date, and but it's not like in order. It's not like he just listed it that way. But in WWE, how they listed it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it's just And then Brandon he did his own list, and he has like 1 through 20.
Okay, so
goodness.
All right, so let's go over this.
Light-skinned cousin Brandon doing work.
All right. So at should I read them from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
Do 10 to 1.
10 to 1. 10 to 1.
So 10 to 1. Number 10 is Kevin Owens, the WrestleMania main eventer. Rey Mysterio.
Booyaka.
The Judgment Day as a group, no individual. The Bloodline as a group, no individual.
I'm surprised the Bloodline are that low. What are they at? 5?
They're at 7. I'm surprised they're not lower than that because they're garbage right now. But we'll talk about that in a second. Seth Rollins is number 6.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley, the first female representation, she is at number 5. John Cena is at number 4.
Wow, Cena's still out here getting checks.
Yeah. LA Knight, is at number 3.
That's surprising.
Roman Reigns is at number 2. And Devontae himself, Cody Rhodes, is at number 1.
For the culture.
I'm not surprised at all.
For the culture. So we got some cultural representation. but real talk.
Hold on, Chris, because I want to make sure, like, because some listeners and maybe even Chinyere is not aware of the cultural status of civil rights leader and professional wrestler Cody Devontae Rhodes. Don't judge the man by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. So we have claimed Cody Devontae Rhodes as a member of the Black community.
Oh yeah, no,
has a dream.
Yeah, I've heard. You got the clip to play?
We can't play the clip anymore.
Please don't.
YouTube banned the clip, but we had a clip with Cody Rhodes and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Somebody at YouTube got some sense. There we go.
YouTube just trying to silence black voices.
Yeah, I'm not here for that at all. I'm here.
We just need Kendrick to put it out.
Oh yeah,
Kendrick himself.
Kendrick.
Yeah. But seriously though, this is what I gotta say. I'm not mad at this list because I do think this is an accurate list, but we do have to talk about why the list is this, like what is
real quick, Chris, before you get cooking. So Brandon, you said Brandon's got like the top 20.
Yeah, Chris, Brandon's list is scroll down for Brandon's list.
Okay, let me ask you this question about Brandon's list. Does the New Day show up at all in the top 20?
All right, let's go to Brandon's list. I can start from number 20 to number 1. We could just go. And this is this is a ridiculous list, man. All right, so number 20.
Chris, just to add in, this is from January 1st to November 14, 2023.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for the context. Okay, so number 20 is WCW. That's number 20 on there.
WCW.
Yeah. Number 19.
Keep it 2000.
Yeah, I know, right? Number 19 is Scott Hall.
What the?
Number 18.
Oh, he passed. So
yeah, hey Ray. Don't disrespect that man, Ray. Don't disrespect him, Ray.
I'm not disrespecting. No, I was just trying to see. So the brand WCW.
Yeah, WCW.
Oh, you talking about WCW?
Hall.
Man, Ray almost hurt my heart, man.
No, I was confused. That's all. I was confused.
All right, yeah. All right, so there's 20 of these motherfuckers we got to get through. Okay? All right. So number 20 is WCW. Number 19 is Scott Hall. Number 18 is Bad Bunny. Number 17 is D-Generation X. Number 16 is the LWO.
Okay.
Number 15 is Jey Uso. Number 14 is Bray Wyatt. 13 is Sami Zayn.
WrestleMania main eventer.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to get that out there. Number 12 is Kevin Owens. Number 11 is Seth Rollins. Now we get to the top 10.
Okay.
Number 10 is the Usos. Number 9 is WWE generic. Number 8 is Rhea Ripley, still representing, only female on the list. Number 7 is Eddie Guerrero.
Damn.
Number 6 is the NWO. Number 5 is John Cena. Number 4 is LA Knight. Yeah. And then number 3 is Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Number 2, missing from the last list, is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then number 1 is still Devontae, Cody Rhodes.
Not surprised.
Yeah, so that's the
motherfucker hiding in fish grease right now. I ain't
right. Yeah. So on both lists, there's no black representation on either list.
Hey, bro, I'm surprised Bianca not on these lists.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And bro, this is the thing about Bianca. They promote the shit out of her. Like that's the thing. I'm surprised. Like she got a Hulu show coming out that they've been going. Like they've been bragging about
multiple
that since,
commercials.
January. You know what I'm saying? Like Bianca's promoted it as even when she wasn't on TV for the past like 3 or 4 months, or 2 or 3 months, they still be promoting the hell out of her, having doing hella media. I'm surprised. Like, I mean, like, what do you chalk that up to? Like people just not buying her.
I chalk it up to
when you see in the crowd like all the kids be having the little, you know what I'm saying, the braid and stuff like that. They be wearing her attire, dressing up for Halloween. I'm surprised she's not on. At least not in this top 5.
Well,
either list, to be honest.
We'll have to check this list out again, probably at the end of the year. I think I'm not surprised in the sense that she has been off television for a little while,
right?
And they really haven't made mention of her up until she made her return. She's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. But it's like the wrestlers in WWE right now. If you are like NXT, I think they're doing good with their black wrestlers. WWE, the official brands, I just think that there's some kind of disconnect right now where they're just not important right now. As far as progressing storylines and putting them in stuff that's meaningful, because I can't sit here and tell y'all. My brothers and sister, I can't say, oh yeah, I'm clamoring for more of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I can't say that. I wish I could, but I just can't. And I'm like, there's nothing with black wrestlers on SmackDown or Raw that I'm wanting to see more of, or like, yeah, I need this in my life. You know, I love it when Ricochet has a match. I love it when Cedric Alexander has a match, but they're not like, it's not
what's
like
his name? Kofi and was it Ivar had a couple bangers on Raw?
Yeah,
like
they
a month or so ago?
Hey man, you see that man Kofi Kingston? He let him know. Kofi let him know. Stop playing with me.
Yeah,
but not for real. I like an omission from these lists, bro. It's no way New Day not on these lists. Like it's
that surprises me.
What are they doing though? Like what's New Day doing at the moment?
But it don't matter. But New Day,
they're not legacy. They're not legacy status yet, though, man. They're
what? Yes,
they're not. No, you're
WWE.
talking about like we're talking about legacy status as in like I'm talking about like WCW and N.W.A. and shit like that. New Day is still there. And while they're on TV right now, they sometimes win matches and they sometimes lose matches. They are utility people right now.
But dog,
they are not somebody that's
promoting like strictly.
Nobody's gonna
the merch sales.
Yeah,
nobody's like New Day and their equity, dog. They've been
nobody's just
like.
But I mean, like nobody's gonna buy you just because it's a Janet Jackson business. It's what have you done for me lately? You know,
Stone Cold ain't wrestled since he.
Stone Cold is a legacy guy.
He is a legacy guy, but I'm talking about New Day have been prominent staples within WWE.
And they were top merch sellers for many years.
They've been defined now. Look at this. Kofi Kingston was ahead of at least. He was ahead of Kevin. If you go back to 2019 when he won the title, he was ahead of Kevin Owens. He was ahead of. You can make the argument that he was ahead of Seth Rollins. He was ahead of Bray Wyatt. He was ahead of a lot of these people. And that once they decided that Kofi, we gave you a charity affirmative action run with the belt. Jeez. Now we're taking it off of you. That once they did that to him, this is where he's been. And this is a problem with WWE. I don't blame Kofi Kingston for it. I don't blame Cedric for it or Xavier. It's not their fault. They have been put in this position as, hey, we know that you guys are good, and we know that you are always going to do. You guys are three of the good ones, one of the good ones, and that's what we expect out of you. We're going to give you this, and you are not going to complain about it. You're just going to go out there and do it, and that's why we like you. So as a result of that, you get a list of 20 wrestlers, 20 brands, and New Day isn't on the list because that's just I can't honestly say I'm surprised at this list just based on what WB has been presenting me with black wrestlers for the last 6 or 7 months. Because Lashley,
how would we like? So in terms of like how would you go about like explaining? I'm like genuinely curious. How would you go about explaining Bianca's absence from this list, considering she's like probably the most well booked woman that they have in the division? I would say over the last like year, even dating back to 2022. Like she's been like prominently featured, well booked. Like she like was like basically running shit for like 8-9 months. The female Cena, they was calling her for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
In Bianca's defense, she hasn't been around for the last few months, and I don't know what this list encompasses. So that's that. She hasn't been around in the last few months.
She was all TV. She finished up in I think around like August 18th.
Yeah, that's a little while. August 18th, and now we're in November-ish.
No. She came back in I think October. Yeah. She came back in October, right?
The end of October was it, or the beginning of October? That's still a full quarter, though. August, September, October. That's still a quarter right there. That's still 2 months. Yeah. So that's a while, and also in her defense, she's not the only woman that's not on this list.
Chris, it was towards the end. It was October 20th.
October 20th. Yeah, so she's not the only woman that's not on this list either. So we have to put that in the
Becky not on. Is Becky on here?
Nope.
Becky's not on the list.
Rhea was the only woman.
Rhea was the only woman. So we could blame WWE fans for this. But I think there's a lot of things in WWE right now. WWE is a stale product. Nobody wants to come out and say it at the moment. They've got good stuff on the product, but the bloodline stuff, man, is like that's like a casserole that you just left in the oven for way too long, man. And you just serving up busted up casserole at the at your dinner party, man. This has been way too long with the bloodline stuff. And that's why in the bloodline, that's why I think they're so low on this list. You know, it's like at the beginning of the year, you would think they'd be rivaling Cody. I'm actually happy that Cody Rhodes is still number one. That just shows you that the fans are still with him, because I would have expected him to be closer to like number 7 or 10 or something like that. You know, but he's still there.
Back, Ray.
Yeah, so
back like we never left, Ray.
Yeah, so it's like, to me, a lot of people are getting left behind for goofy stuff on TV. And it doesn't get any goofier.
The fact
than
that the NWO is still out here getting these checks is wild in 2023.
It's nuts, yeah, absolutely nuts. The LWO, the NWO,
WC. Who is buying it? And Andrew, as somebody who followed WCW, as somebody who loved WCW, as somebody who has not only done a WCW-centric podcast, but also did a podcast you can find on the Post Wrestling Patreon with this man, Kris Ealy, where we listen to WCW Slam Jam and the WCW Germany album. Like, I'm WCW to the core, Chinyere. I ain't bought a WCW t-shirt since 2001. That's 22 years, ladies and gentlemen.
Street saying Eric Bischoff buying all the merch.
I think, but you do have
Eric
to
and Conrad got a trunk full of WCW shirts.
If you're looking at this list, from just a wrestling fan standpoint, and you see WCW at number 20, you see Degeneration X at number 17. The LWO, they're doing something current with them, but you could throw them at if you're talking about nostalgia.
I'm not surprised about the LWO, but that's not even just nostalgia. That's like a representation of the Hispanic community. Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know what I'm saying. That's a big fucking thing right there.
But the thing is like it's like this is WWE's appeal at the moment, man. They're appealing. They're still appealing to like people that are like me and Nate's age.
T. Anthony said, "My adrenaline in my soul is black and my Lambo is blue." Shout out for the super chat, brother.
Shout out to the super chat. Thank you, T. Anthony.
Hey, Kris, on your point though, I'm gonna say I think it's just a matter of what I'm surprised about is what like is directly connecting with this audience, because when I see it on TV, like we're gonna bring it back around to Bianca or Becky or people like you see so much of their merchandise in the stands, and you know what I'm saying, you see so much of that, so I'm surprised to see those omissions from the list. But I think it's just a matter of like, you know, this is what's connecting with people enough to buy their merch. And I think also to Chris's point about like some talents being legacy, like Cena being on this list is not surprising at all.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's fucking John Cena, bro. You know what I'm saying? WWE brand. That's the brand. People gonna buy that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you got your Bray Wyatt. Like Bray been selling merch. You know, even prior to his passing. So I don't want to discredit him. You know what I'm saying? To be like, you don't want to start saying goofy shit like that. But like, Bray been selling hella merch even before, you know, his unfortunate pass. Degeneration X, Legacy, LWO. Like I said, that's a big representation of the Hispanic community. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are gonna want to be involved with that. Bad Bunny. That's not really surprising at all.
One of the biggest acts on the planet.
WCW, that's the one I'm sad.
WCW is wild.
Bischoff.
My main thing about this list is there's no brothers and sisters on this list.
Where the Omar shirts at?
And that's a problem.
Hey, Kris, where your Omar shirt at, Kris?
You part of the problem, Kris. You ain't bought Omar's merch.
Kris, you part of the Nate, Kris part of the problem, man. He ain't got the Omar's merch. Put it on the front screen.
This man, ladies and gentlemen, this man is why Omos did not crack the top 20.
If I buy a lot of like black wrestling gear, period, to wrestlers that like if I get in touch with a black wrestler and they're like, yo, I got a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, and they could not be relevant for like years, I'd still buy their shirt. You know what I'm saying?
But not every Pittman fit at.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he's got any shirts. I'd buy a Pittman shirt if he had one on there. I bought an Ezekiel Jackson shirt.
Oh wow,
yeah. So like I buy.
Yo, Ezekiel Jackson's theme went hard though. I can't even lie.
Hey, bro, that joke. This one is a cool combination. Hey, bro, that shit.
It's a combination of skill and concentration.
That shit was hard, bro.
Yeah. So it's so it's just what they got to do.
Let me ask you a question, Kris. You know, as somebody who not like we've talked about kind of your bona fides, not just politically, but also kind of in the business world. Do you feel like, because again, Bianca's kind of surprised me not being on that list. Do you feel like there's a separation on this list between like families and like kids that buy merch, and then like not so much collectors, but like the adult audience, right? I'm buying my WCW shirt because that reminds me of my childhood. Could that be kind of the demographics of what's going on with this list?
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, Kris, real quick, just to add on to Nate's question, I want you to answer this. Do you think it's also could do something with the like the quality or the quantity of the merch that's out there for these respective individuals? Like maybe the shit just not, maybe it's not attractive to purchase. Do you think that could have something to?
Well, I mean, like when I gave my opinion on the Hurt Business glitter shirt, MVP wanted to beat my ass after that. So whatever. But I do think the look of the merchandise.
Kris is just walking down the street. All he heard was 1, 2. You hear the clock ticking.
Nate, Kris, Chinyere Ray. I got the WWE shop right now. I want y'all to just like give me like a random name that you thinking about. Like let's specifically black talent or anybody else that you thinking about. Like so, Bianca, like just for example, Bianca got 88 pieces of merchandise tied to her name on this website on WWE shop. You know what I'm saying? She got like plaques, like shirts, and like she got all this type of shit. She got like the little hats with the fucking the braid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this, like any name that you could think of, like Carmelo Hayes and NXT got like 3 shirts for like 8 items total. That's like tied to his name. Like I was just wondering because like we were talking about like maybe it's the quantity. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to figure out like what it is because like I am like genuinely surprised by like some of these old bitches.
I think
these names.
I think Bianca. I do think her numbers will go up like by the close of the year. I do believe that. I do think it's just. I really do think black wrestlers aren't just gonna buy merch like the way I do just because you're black. That's not how they're gonna do it. You've got and white wrestlers aren't going to buy, or white wrestling fans or non-black wrestling fans, they're not going to just buy merchandise just because they're black. You know, that's just not how people do. They got to be on TV. They got to be presented as serious, be presented as something cool for you to buy that stuff. And again,
the shirt's got to look good.
The shirts gotta look good.
That's another thing.
The shirts
wrestling got a history of these shirts not being the best.
Right, yeah. And it's all this other stuff, you know, and they've got to have some kind of level of relatability to them too. And I think that the black wrestlers right now in WWE are suffering. I would like to see an AEW list to see who's selling in AEW as well, because I do think that WWE right now, like, I'm not surprised by this list. I'm not surprised by it at all.
Watch Cody still have the top selling shirt in AEW.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and I'm not surprised, like even like Roman Reigns being at number 3. I'm not surprised at that because the bloodline, bloodline merch is what? Go ahead.
Hey Kris, you brought up the AEW merch. So this was from August 1st, 2023. You think that's a good like barometer?
That's fine.
So this is from Brandon Thurston actually, which is like that's actually funny that we just using Brandon.
Shout out to Brandon Thurston.
So y'all want to go from 10 to 1, or y'all want to go 1 to 10?
Let's go 10 to 1.
So 10 to 1. At number 10 is the Elite. Number 9 is Sting. Number 8 is Bryan Danielson. Number 7 is Bullet Club Gold.
Wow.
Number 6 is MJF and Adam Cole. Number 5 is the Acclaimed. Number 4 CM Punk and FTR.
Muffin Man.
Number 3 Orange Cassidy. Number 2 is AEW The Brand. And number 1 Phil Brooks.
The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
So they got the Acclaimed on the list. So that's one.
That's one.
So they just to add in, they got items. So number 10 was the Sting Retro AEW Micro Baller. Number 9 was the CM Punk Best in the World jacket. Number 8 was the Acclaimed Scissor Me, the fingers.
Number 8.
Yeah, number 8. Number 7 was it's something about the Goldie Elite. We got number 6 and 5 and 4 are all CM Punk related merchandise. Orange Cassidy, and then AEW New Japan Bullet Club Gold shirt, and then the number 1 item selling items at that point were the Better Than You Baby shirt with Adam Cole and MJF. So this was the top merchandise sellers in. Okay, so this was released in early August, but this was the top merchandise sellers like most recently July. So that was the most documented data.
Okay.
So at that specific time frame, but CM Punk number 1 and. The Acclaim numbers. I'm not surprised Acclaim being top 5. That's not surprising at all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because they're featured prominently on TV.
Yeah.
And they're an act that's easy to understand and follow and all.
And they win championships, Chris.
Right. They got titles. It's like the WWE right now with their black wrestlers. They're the most diverse they've ever been as a company. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah.
But right now there is some kind of disconnect with fans and black wrestlers right now,
Yeah.
And they got to figure it out.
That's why Shawn Michaels had you see Shawn Michaels had OTM shooting dice in the parking lot. You seen that, John? You see that? You see that?
Yo.
Like script. Hey, now what I will say though, with people they was hating on Reggie. I don't know if y'all did y'all research on that man, but don't think Reggie don't come from that because he do.
Yeah, that's all like Detroit, right?
Yeah,
flipping stuff that was just for show.
Yeah, no, yeah. They, like he like you don't know how to do those kind of flips and stuff like that if you don't come from that element, man. Like we used to.
I know the police had a hell of a time trying to catch that.
Yeah. When
that brother was parkouring his ass up and down the streets of Detroit.
Yeah.
Reggie from Detroit?
Yeah, I think he was.
For real?
Oh no, I think St. Louis. I think from the Midwest. From the Midwest.
Okay.
I know for a fact he's from the Midwest.
Yeah, that ain't no easy place to come up.
But back to the what we were talking about with the AEW numbers. Like, is anybody like really surprised? Like, Chinyere, what you think? Are you like surprised at like the names that are on that original? Like, you got Punk number 1, Orange Cassidy, Acclaim. Like, is there anybody on that list that surprised you? And also getting into the conversation of the WWE, like the omission of like, some of the black talents that are missing from this list, like Bianca, and then you talk about just like, the names in general, like the Becky Lynch's not being on the list. Like, what are your thoughts about just the overall merchandise conversation we having right now?
I think with AEW, I'm not shocked about anybody, honestly. That list seems pretty accurate, and especially since it was from August, so it definitely does make a lot of sense. With regards to the WWE list, right, with the top 20, I am a bit shocked that Bianca Belair is not on there. And I also thought the Street Profits would be on there for some, I don't know why, but I thought maybe like they would also be doing really well, but apparently not. But I definitely do think that there is a bit of a disconnect maybe between wrestling fans and like the black wrestlers within the WWE. And maybe that's just why the merch isn't doing so well, So yeah, and then it does kind of suck because like, even like with female representation, we only have Rhea Ripley as the sole female representative. So it's kind of like, but that Monday Night Mommy top, it goes hard. I see it.
I was gonna say like I bet you like half of the people that bought this shirt, and I'm not trying to generalize here, but I bet you half of the people that bought them shirts is dudes that just want mommy to step on them. Tell me when I'm telling lies, Ray.
You talking about Tony Atlas?
Yo, Tony Atlas.
Hey man, hey, but let me just say this. But it was a couple of years ago. I was at a convention, right? I saw it live in person, bruh. I could not believe it. I could not believe it, bruh. Like it was an experience to say the least.
Hey, you like what you like, man. Tony Atlas just likes women stepping on him.
You like what you like, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You know, at least he's not a congressman using campaign money to buy OnlyFans, Kris.
Right? Yeah.
Shout out to that. What's old boy's name? George Santos.
Santos, yeah, George.
Shout out to George Santos.
Their Congress is just the craziest place right now. They had that Mark Wayne Mullen dude who tried to fight that Teamster.
Oh yeah, on the floor.
Yeah, stand your butt up, and the teacher like, you stand your butt up. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here, man?
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to know a name? How I was kind of surprised not to see you on the top merchandise sellers list, like just not even in specific position, but just on the list in general is Damage Control. Damage Control.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bailey, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. Yeah. But now they got Oscar and Kyrie too.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that as the months go on, those numbers will go up because you got the addition of Oscar and Kyrie. So I'm assuming that those numbers will pick up at some point.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
I'm just saying, like specifically saying this how they are prominently featured on television on a consistent basis. They are like never off TV. I would think that was one.
I will say this about wrestlers and fans, that it's really simple to get people invested in wrestlers. If the wrestlers on this list that I see, like Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, John Cena, Rhea Ripley, these are people who say, I'm going to beat this person's ass, and then they go out there and do it, you know? And it's a real simple formula with these people, and that's who fans like the most. Like when Brock Lesnar, you know, people, and that's what when Lashley was having his moment in the sun, that's what they like. They like people who say, who do what they say they're going to do. Yeah, like they like this believability to them, and like business. There's like not one cartoon character in the top 10, unless you want to count like Rollins. They've scaled back his comic stuff a little bit. And then
I'm about to say, but Kris, to your point about what you just said, like with Seth Rollins, he does exactly what you just said. He has and he wins. You know
They've done a better job with him too. Like I thought his feud with Drew McIntyre was very good. Like I thought that, like, and Drew McIntyre isn't on the list either. But I thought the feud that they had was very good. And that feud was the first Seth Rollins feud, because I thought all of his promos were goofy as hell. And then he cut that promo where Drew McIntyre is crying about not main eventing in an empty arena, and and then what Rollins said, the response really, it gave me chills. He said some of us lost everything. Some of us didn't even make it through the pandemic, and that hit me, because I had my cousin didn't make it through the pandemic, and then I had one of my good friends, Scott, that I went to community college with. He didn't make it through the pandemic. And I thought that was like really, really good stuff. So I could see Seth, and that's the kind of that shit is way better than the goofiness, you know, when you're able to cut a promo like that, and then Drew McIntyre, his promo, he had like a good point, but when you're able to show how bullshit the stuff Drew McIntyre is actually saying in the grand scheme of life and everyday struggles, that was good stuff. So I understand Rollins being on this list is what I'm saying, the long way of me saying that. And then Kevin Owens, you know, like these are the kind of things. It's like you don't sell merch doing this comic crap unless you're the Acclaim, and even them to a lesser extent, they when it's time to get serious, they're serious.
Super chat.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Hold on, Andrew. Ray with the super chat sign. So we got to bring bring this super chat up on the screen for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
Hansi, he said, thanks for the super chat, Hansi. He said the Bookers took all the scandals of the past that ever existed and said here before giving George Santos his gimmick for his storyline.
Yeah, George Santos' storyline is crazy, Hansi. Like, right. I was a championship volleyball player at a college that I was never enrolled in. I'm part Jewish-ish.
Yeah. But, and then the credit, like going back to what we were just talking about, like the Kevin Owens getting on the list. He's been prominently featured on TV, bro. But Owens, he ain't really been winning like that. Like the motherfucker been losing to the Judgment Day all damn year. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been on the losing end of a lot of matches. But I think that just that's why I said I'm surprised the New Day is on the list because yes, they're not like doing what they were doing in 2019. And of course, you got the absence of Big E. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's a big thing as well.
Yeah.
But like also when I'm looking at Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens been losing like hell for like basically most of 2023. And then on top of that, with New Day, but listen what I'm saying though. What I'm saying on New Day, they've been such a prominent figure within WWE, and so is Kevin Owens. But when you look at the last year, they're kind of on the same thing. And we talking about wins and losses and people caring about it in that storyline sense. So I'm like, that's why I'm saying I was surprised about New Day not being on the list, considering they have more equity within the WWE space than Kevin Owens, as far as like that reach that they have. That's why I said I was surprised about it.
Kevin Owens did main event night one WrestleMania, so he had that.
He made event at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. So that's gonna automatically shoot you up, right? As far as merch sales,
and he's been connected in a story with Cody.
Yeah, he's been in that story with Cody, and that's osmosis right there, right? Just being attached to somebody that's moving merch, and you're being with it. You're gonna catch some of those vapors, right? So, so I mean, that's kind of like and Kevin Owens, like I think the difference between Kevin Owens and Zayn and the New Day is Kevin Owens and Zayn are presented like people who almost win and then get screwed, but almost win and almost win. The New Day is presented like guys that lose and don't care that they lose. You know? And I think that's just kind of like with the fan. There's right now there is nothing that draws me. I'm talking as a black fan. There's nothing that draws me to the New Day that's like, man, I need to buy another Kofi shirt. And I've bought Kofi shirts before, or buy anything, you know. And it's just they've done a bad job with the New Day, man. They've done a good job in the sense that they're on TV and they're making money. And they're signed there for a little while, and they're not leaving anytime soon. And they're always going to be a constant for you. That's great. But as far as like, you know, rising tide and all that, I just don't think that's what they see the New Day as. And I think the New Day is probably at this point in their career just happy to, you know, be collecting checks, you know.
And then keep in mind also.
Oh, you go ahead, Ray. No, go ahead, Ray.
I was about to say, kind of similar to what Andrew was saying about Bianca. Consider the fact also that Kofi was out at the beginning of the year too, due to injury as well. So that might have played a little bit, but I kind of side with Kris as well as it's just like with them, and I can see how people can be like, well, it should be like a legacy, especially with them winning championships before and being popular. But again, if you're hot, you got all the merch coming in. But if you're not hot, then you know those sales are dry. So I think it's just a thing of them not being hot at the right time.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good point, Ray.
You know who was hot at the right time though.
What Go ahead.
Sorry,
Nah,
I wanted to say.
You go ahead,
also-
Chinyere, because this your show. You look, you gonna be. I'm just giving you a little bit of advice, Chi. Like when y'all come through with this spinning black fist, you gonna have some people on your show that's gonna be trying to talk over you, ain't trying to answer the questions. They gonna try to dip and dodge, and you got to say, "No, this is my show," along with Ray. Depending on how he talk about Nia Jax going forward, it might just be your show, Chinyere. But you go ahead, sister. What are your thoughts on that?
I was gonna say with the New Day, right? I think maybe another thing that might have actually contributed to the low sales for them might be Big E not necessarily being there, because I feel like the New Day isn't as strong without Big E. Like there's just something that feels like it's missing from the New Day. And so maybe that's another thing. That's another reason why maybe now it's like, okay, but then.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But shout out to Kofi though for opening those schools in Ghana. Like that.
That's like a whole library, like
computer center. Like that's dope, man. Like you.
I'm actually glad that they showed that on TV, because you know how sometimes like they'd be like, you know what I'm saying, won't acknowledge it, but like I'm glad they like aired a couple commercials on TV like throughout the week when it initially opened. I was like, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Because you usually when a wrestler do some shit outside the company, they'd be like, oh well, brother, it ain't got nothing to do with us. So, you know what I'm saying? They actually did promote it, so that's a good thing. Shout out to
like I said, all three
and
of
his
them
mom
dudes.
who opened the center.
Yeah, him and his moms. Yep, and all three of those New Day dudes, like they are in a weird spot, and this will be my last thing on the New Day and this kind of merch topic. They're in a weird spot, I think, Kris, where they are like they've gone past the point where anybody can throw shots at them. Like I think they are generally loved and respected by most, if not all, the fans. But I think from the company's perspective, if you're just looking at the New Day as characters on this wrestling program, they're not important at all. Yeah. Like there's no reason for me to be invested in those guys, no matter how much I love and respect them, and no matter like how many great matches unexpectedly Kofi and Ivar put on. It's like, but I got Devontae and what they doing over here with him and Jay and KO, and that's so much more interesting. The Judgment Day, that's so much more interesting. Nia Jax, that's so I ain't even gonna go that far. But like there's so many other things that take part. Gunter and them boys. Like there's so many more things that are interesting on Raw right now.
Is Gunther not on the list, is he?
No, they're not on the list. Imperium,
but Gunther been getting booked like a monster.
Yeah, I don't blame. Look, I'm not buying any like German militant group merchandise.
Not in this political climate. You can't be rocking an Imperium shirt.
So I understand not buying that shit.
Like Andrew, I don't know if any of y'all have bought like vapes or stuff online, and you got to fill out the little check box where it's like, are you over 21? I feel like if you go to WWE shop and you buy an Imperium shirt, a little box should come up and say, where were you on January 6th? And if you can't answer that question, you shouldn't be allowed to buy that Imperium shirt.
I'm looking at the.
I know they're not a part of that shit.
No,
I'm just saying. It's just I don't want to be wearing a shirt that says Imperium on it with dudes named Gunther and all that.
Go to the wrong part of town. They're like, Kris, I didn't know you were down for the cause.
I don't even want to be asked that question, so I can understand.
It's funny. It's funny when he said he don't want to buy a shirt with the name with like Imperium on it with the name, because I just scrolled past a shirt that had that exact thing on it.
Yeah,
the Imperium logo with the big name Gunther.
Yeah, these white dudes know what's up, man. They know. Like maybe not buy that.
But did y'all see? Y'all know the dude Cooper Flag, right? The basketball player. Have y'all seen him?
Yeah.
He just committed to Duke, and they had like a picture of him holding like a tiki torch that was on fire. And I was like, oh man, they was cooking his ass in the comments, dog. It was hilarious.
Yeah, you don't need that stuff. Yeah,
no.
These white boys know what's up, man. They ain't try to be rocking any Imperium shirts.
Not in this political climate.
Yeah. They were better off
replace us.
Yeah. We don't the tiki torches.
Yeah,
you can get that Imperium shirt with going with the big name on it for $12.
Yeah, I can see showing up to my mom's place with a shirt that says Imperium on it, and then with the names of like the guys in the group,
Kaiser, Gunther,
Kaiser, Vinci. I can see my mom being like, "You having some kind of identity crisis going on over here, yo."
Kris, why did you throw that Imperium shirt on that baby?
Yeah. I think just expecting those dudes to move merch is a bit much, even because the wrestling fans of 2023 ain't the wrestling fans of even 2010, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody's trying to. I don't think anybody wants those kind of problems with the Imperium gear.
So you say make Gunther great again?
Yeah.
Make Imperium great again, Migga. And that's Migga with an M, as in Mike.
Yeah.
Migga. But yeah, let's wrap things up, man. We didn't put in work again. Another 3-hour classic. We did it again. That's what we do here at the NWA Podcast every month on Post Wrestling. We thank y'all that watched live, and we thank everybody that is watching or listening in the future. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate the super chats, some good conversations. But before we get out of here, you know we got to give our guests some love. So let's start with the one and only. The man that is on day 9, hour 23 and a half of his 10-day contract, which may or may not be renewed. Y'all have to tune in to find out. Rookie Ray Williams, where can the people find you? What you got going on? Let them know where they can find you, brother.
All right. First off, Nia Jax is the best worker in the business. Second,
there you go. Let's put another 10 days on that contract.
Hey Ray, that's how you get the 1 year vet minimum right there. There you go. Smart move, Ray.
I'm gonna put my order in for her T-shirt right after we get off.
There we go. Now we can renegotiate.
But you can find me on the King of Sport Network. Hopefully we could get a new King of Sport podcast as well during this month. We can follow up on our football picks that we had in the beginning of the season. We can also talk
Dak Prescott out here playing like an MVP on these streets, Ray.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know, man. They need to be somebody of substance, but we'll get to it. But also are coming soon with Miss Okafor, Spinning Blackfist podcast, our Afrocentric MMA podcast, coming soon to earwaves soon. And also you can find me
like how you said that earwaves. We putting that knowledge in your ears.
Indeed. And for any of my random thoughts, you can find me online on X and Instagram at Mondo Dondo #1.
Shout out to
Ladies
Ray.
and gentlemen, Ray
1
Williams.
year Ray. That's my guy.
Working on that vet minimum.
Hey, real quick. The one thing I'm really interested about the podcast that Ray and Chinyere have coming up is like what's going on in the UFC, especially under this new Endeavor umbrella. And then on top of that, they got the Saudi Arabia show coming up, and Dana coming out saying that the only reason he got that deal in place is because of Vince. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole dynamic. Then Dana having Donald Trump in these fucking shows and parading this man around like he's a fucking hero. You know what I'm saying? And I think just even seeing the reaction that Trump gets at these events lets you know the type of fan base that is at these UFC shows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why
I'm interested in their conversations when it comes to that stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's why I'm glad that y'all are getting in that space too, because that when I saw that shit, that was like, okay, I know I'm done with MMA after this.
Yeah, man. But that wasn't even in like Florida. That was in New York.
Right, yeah.
Like,
yeah, but the reason why they get away with that is because there's not enough black people that want to cover this stuff anymore.
True.
So that's the good thing about being in this space is like, you know, not there's no black people that cover this that want to hold them to account. You got your Stephen A. Smiths who's just doesn't care about anything but capitalism and making money. And you got, you know,
Christopher Ealy, Dr. Christopher Ealy. I know you a long time, bro. We've been back and forth on this topic before, Kris.
Yeah.
You know what, Kris? You're not gonna like it, Kris. Watch your words, Kris. You're not gonna like how this turns out. When I'm here with my close personal friend Dana White, and we're wearing our Imperium t-shirts with the names Gunther and Vinci and Kaiser on it, it's preposterous, it's blasphemous, it's splendiferous.
Splendiferous.
But to your point, that is one of the things I'm excited about because, and it's not just MMA, but you got to realize, like we're talking MMA. I hope to hear Chinyere's thoughts on boxing because she has covered a lot of boxing as well, and that's the sport that I've always loved, but kind of haven't kept up with it lately. But boxing, MMA, combat sports, a lot of the undercurrent is when we're promoting these fights, it's a lot of race-based promotion.
Yeah,
there's a lot of race-based promotions. Like, there's a reason Canelo Alvarez had a fight on Cinco de Mayo every year for like 10 years.
Right, yeah. Like, seriously, like, I think the most racist time in America is when a black boxer is fighting a white boxer or a white boxer, a white MMA fighter is fighting a black MMA fighter. Because then you start seeing people kind of divide into their little group.
Man, when Tyson Fury went down against Ngannou, man, you could just see the hate online.
Yeah, you could. It was palpable, man.
And Chinyere, you might know about this. We could have had a big race thing as far as Dricus du Plessis versus my guy Israel Adesanya before Driku DDS got hurt.
Yeah, now that was about to turn into a very ugly situation. Look
at this right here. They gave you that for free. I don't even know this man Dricus du Plessis. I don't even know that man. But Ray and Chinyere just broke it down for a little second, real quick. With him and Israel Adesanya.
I was about to say you probably saw that clip. Was that the one when he was like, Irsan was asking him to say the N-word? That's what he was doing. He was asking him to say that.
Yeah, like he was quoting the N-word.
Oh, that's that guy. Okay.
That's that clip. That's what that was.
Okay, I was like,
even something is like, remember, like I wanted to make sure I had it right, but when Kamaru Usman was having this thing with Kobe Covington. Everybody knows Covington. You know what I'm saying? His bullshit. But I have never. When I say I don't really keep up with MMA like that. But I have never wanted to see somebody get their ass beat so much in my life.
Right,
bro. Like, I swear to God, bro. Like I was praying.
That fight was so weird though, because isn't Usman like kind of maggish too though?
No. Yeah, I did. Did he knock him out?
Am I thinking of somebody else that like was black and MAGA?
Usman isn't a MAGA.
There's somebody I'm thinking of in the UFC that was like black and like MAGA. I know what's his name? Who's my guy from Miami? Masvidal, stay on that MAGA stuff.
Usman looked like he was gonna kill Kobe Covington at that press conference.
Yeah,
when he kept on saying that shit, man. So I mean, I hope he's not a MAGA, but if he yeah, I don't think.
I hope not, Usman, for your sake. But again, if you are, you got an invitation to come on the Spinning Blackfist podcast and explain yourself, brother. To Chinyere and Ray. Speaking of Chinyere Okafor, one of the co-hosts of the Spinning Blackfist podcast, it's great to have Chi back in the building. Our niece on these streets.
I'm
adopting Chinyere now. I got my nephew Andrew and my niece Chi in the building. Chinyere, let the people know where they can find you and the work that you've done in combat sports, some of the podcasts and stuff like that. And again, we're excited to have you on the team and get ready to bring this Spinning Blackfist out there to the people.
Well, I'm so excited to, be a part of the Spinning Blackfist podcast. There's a lot to talk about in the world of combat sports, be it wrestling, be it MMA, be it boxing, be it Muay Thai, whatever it is. It's always just a lot of fun.
Ready for that? She said, how many forms of fighting do you need? Because I got them all. Muay Thai, Krav Maga. You ain't never heard no sister talk about Krav Maga on these streets.
Yeah, definitely. And this shows that I got a lot of love for it. For the mere fact that I'm up at, what time is it? 6 a.m. right now, and I'm talking about all this.
That's crazy.
I love to see it, bro. That's the passion. That's the passion of a
work ethic
right there, boy. I'm trying to tell you that shit make my heart.
It's a combination of skill and concentration.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. So here on the African continent, I'm trying to become a big deal. But when it comes to, on a global basis, it is just one of those things where I just want to contribute. And I just want to be a voice in the combat sports space as a female and as a Black female. Because, you know, I'm everything. I'm South African, I'm Nigerian, I have Zimbabwean blood in me. And so I can bring it all type of thing. But you guys can find me on social media at Chinyere Okafor _ that's the name that you see there. Just put together with an underscore at the end. And please don't come at me on Twitter, because the other day someone came at me on Twitter. Well, not somebody. A few people came at me on Twitter. And I've been off of Twitter since then because I'm traumatized.
Don't y'all come for Chinyere.
Yeah, y'all better start playing before we send them NWA hitters at you.
You already know.
That was my first time being, like, you know, attacked on Twitter. So I was like, damn, okay.
Don't worry, Chinyere. Ray, I ain't gonna go into Ray's past, but let's just say Ray know people that know people. He got some connections to the criminal underworld. So if you need somebody dealt with, Ray can help you with that.
Start there.
And it's great that I have him as my podcast host, as my co-host.
Real quick though, Chinyere, and I don't want to put you on Front Street like that. I don't want to put you on the Summer Jam stage, but we got you here. You know, you mentioned like the mix of cultures that are in your background. Honestly, just tell me honestly, Chinyere, what did you think of Apollo Crews with that Nigerian drum match? How bad did you feel about that?
Anytime anything Nigerian is explored, I'm kind of like cringing a little bit. I'm like, no, because I know they're gonna overdo it. Overdo it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened with that match. I was like, oh my God, this is bad.
Yeah.
So, and because then people look at me also and they're like, yo, like for example, right now, like, how did you feel? And I'm like, I didn't like it. So that's the stuff. I didn't like it. It wasn't fun. And I hope they never do it again. Please, no, thanks.
Yeah.
So that is Chinyere Okafor, man. Y'all go ahead. If you haven't followed her from her last appearance here on the NWA podcast, follow her now because she is good at what she does. She's hardworking. She on the come up. And again, Chinyere and Ray, they about to bring you this new hotness with Spinning Blackfist coming out next month at some time. We don't know. This is just the announcement before the announcement. They bringing it to the Kings of Sport, so that's gonna be good. We appreciated both of y'all taking time this week. Andrew Thompson, where can the people find you? I just got word from Brandon Thurston right now. Andrew Thompson is the third leading merch seller of the five of us here on this podcast. Andrew came in at number 3, and it's because he main evented on night 1 of the NWA podcast and not night 2. Nephew, what you got going on here, Post, man? What's good with Andrew Thompson interviews? Where can the people find you, brother?
Hey, check me out on AD Thompson __ on Twitter and Instagram. Check out my written work at postwrestling.com. Interviews at Andy Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. I got a couple podcast appearances that I did this past week, so those should be coming out this week. So I'm looking forward to people hearing that. And that's about it for me, man. And definitely support the Spinning Blackfist podcast. Man. I'm looking forward to Ray and Chinyere's future content. You know, when that drops, maybe you'll get it in December, maybe you'll get it in 2024. Keep you on your toes. There you go.
That's the thing about a Spinning Blackfist. It might come early, it might come late, but one way or another, it's gonna hit you.
And it's gonna hit you like a night 1 main event.
Let's go from the night 1 main event to the true main event of this podcast.
No, wait. Hey, time out. I'm starting to notice some hate coming from your tone. Hey, Ray.
Hold on. To quote Chris Ray, I'm just putting facts out there. This ain't emotions. I'm telling you facts.
Yeah, it's water. It's objective. It's water. You need water.
Ray,
if you don't drink water, you gonna die, Ray.
Yeah. Hey, Ray, are you starting to notice a bit of favoritism that's coming from Nate? Are you seeing this right now? I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping.
That's because Kris is a legacy brand like WCW.
Oh yeah.
Legacy. You know what? Legacy my ass. Plug your Twitter, your Instagram to me. I'm done now. He's talking some fucking legacy. All right.
Hey Kris, what you got going on besides Kings of Sport, besides NWA? Where can the people find you on Twitter? And do you have any more shout outs, like your shout out to David Koresh?
All right, so we'll do this in order, man. So I have been the most busy I have ever been in life because I'm paying for stem cell treatment and I'm writing a book The good thing about finding an independent publisher is I'm not like I thought my book was going to be out by the end of next year. It's probably not going to be out until the year after, and that's okay because my publisher said, "Hey, look, this is why This is why you've got independent. So take as much time as you need, and we'll get it right." So that's the thing.
Like Jade Cargill.
Oh yeah, and this is the thing about me too. And I could speak for Nate on this as well. We understand that the money-making process isn't an easy thing where you're just gonna like do some bullshit and just automatically become like rich as hell. Like, so if you're like the DJ Envy stuff, I gotta talk about that for a second. And we'll talk about this on I'm sure we'll talk about this on Kings of Sport. If you are taking real estate advice from a dude that was in prison, it's likely going to be bad advice. And he's telling you how to flip stuff. Look, I'm from the hood. I come from that element. I've been in Newport News, and I've seen the people at that one corner store day.
Shout out to the corner store.
Yeah.
By the way, Heidenreich, if you're listening, that's where you can find the weed and the women. Go to the corner store; they'll let you know.
But yeah, you're not gonna be you're not like no hood dude is like, yo, let me hold $100 and I'm gonna flip it and turn it into $10,000 or whatever. Let's stop that shit. Make your money the old-fashioned way. Investments take years to reciprocate on. It's not going to be overnight. And yeah, so I had to say something about that DJ Envy stuff because like I didn't know that dude, when he was talking about that real estate stuff, I was like, oh, he might know real estate. And then I'm finding out he's getting his real estate advice from a prison nigga, man. I was like, really, my dude? And you're going back and spreading this to people and telling them you're flipping. You're always going to get ripped off, people. That's why critical thinking exists. You can follow me on Twitter at K or what's it called? X, the Elon Musk bullshit, which I need to get off of that because that dude is such a hating ass anti-Semite son of a bitch. But
say it with your chest, Kris.
It's a means to an end right now. Yeah, KM Easy does it. And
hold on, Kris, hold on. Shout out to the good man Steve Willie. Steve Willie out there in Chi-Town or Chi-Town adjacent just hopped on. He's like, this is the oddest point to hop onto the podcast while you going at DJ Envy and Elon.
Oh yeah. I had to go on DJ Envy, and I it's just I like why is it in our community that why do you have to teach people wealth? It's like, why do you feel pressure to do that and you know nothing about? You're an entertainer. I'm a college professor. I can't teach you how to be wealthy. That's you got to find your own path to that. So let's stop these fake nonsense. Like, yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to do real estate, and you talking to a dude from Rikers, and getting advice from this dude. And
Kris, I could give you $100, Kris, or you could take that $100 and start you an LLC and then manifest that money into an investment for bigger gains, brother.
See, this is how I can tell you've talked to a few of those cats before. you know the language of them, man. And they all sound the same. So just brothers and sisters, just don't fall for the okie doke. Make your money the old-fashioned, slow way. If that means going to college, do that. If it means something else, do that. But I just want y'all to know that everything is a process. It's not nothing's instant, man. I wish the world was like that, but it ain't. And if you lived in LA through the pandemic, and through the actor strike, and you talk to the amount of broke working actors that I talk to, you'll understand that all that seems to glitter ain't gold. So just words of advice, man.
Kris out here giving y'all some life lessons at the end of this 3-hour wrestling podcast, ladies and gentlemen. So where you can find me, I think I'm gonna go ISO this one time tonight.
Go ISO.
Bam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you can find me?
At favoritism.
Find
Call
me.
that.
Post wrestling. It's on my chest, Andrew.
Yeah.
I ain't new to this. I'm true to this, brother. Post wrestling is where you can find me, man. Speaking of post wrestling, man, check out all of the shows here available at Post Wrestling. Like we mentioned, John and Wade got a great review of Full Gear that's up last night. In addition, last night you had Rich Fan and WH Part dropped the latest edition of MCU Later, where they talked to Andre, I forget his last name, from Hero World. They reviewed the Marvels out there in theaters. It ain't making the most money in the world, but it's a fun movie. So shout out to Rich, WH, and Andre 2000. I'm gonna call him Andre 2000 because he ain't making flute music for the streets right now. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, that Andre 3000 flute record, it's not bad.
It's not.
It's not bad.
It's not. Yeah.
If you in the right, shall we say, frame of mind, Ray. If you like Jeff Hardy, you in that Imagination, that flute music actually hit pretty good. So shout out to Andre 3000. But if you want more from me, I'm on Twitter. I'm on X at N.W.A. MOZAIK at name Mosaic. That's where you find links to all of the work that I do. Of course, here at Post Wrestling, we got the NWA podcast every month. The Rocky Maivia Picture Show still out here on these streets somewhere. Kris and I, the new tag team in charge of the Kings of Sport podcast with 10-Day Ray in the building, coming off the bench, hitting big shots like Robert Ory. Let's see. Of course, Kings of Sport, we got a Patreon. Patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. $5. As Andrew Thompson said last month, $5. What you want, a biggie bag? Or you want something, you want some food for your belly, or you want some food for your mind, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we give you at the Kings of Sport Patreon. Food for your mind. Over 200 hours of content, audio, video, talking about sports, politics, pro wrestling, life, MCU reviews. All of that is up there at the Kings of Sport Patreon. But yeah, that's gonna do it for what I got. But again, want to send a shout out to everybody here at Post Wrestling. Shout out to everybody that checked out the latest edition of Postmarks. I've been getting a lot of good feedback.
Oh yeah, that was good stuff, man.
That episode that I did with Bruce and David, where we kind of talked about my life and my career and how I came to join the Post Wrestling Avengers. So you can check that out on the Patreon. Thank you, Ray. You working your way closer to that vet minimum. You can check that out.
I guess Swerve is a good luck charm for those bum ass LA Rams because they won by a point.
Yo, that's the craziest. That might be the most unbelievable thing of all. Swerve went through this crazy ass match and then showed up at the Rams game today. I ain't mad at you, Swerve.
Yeah, I was like, yo, why do you want to torture yourself like that, my brother? Going to a Rams game, but they won. So I mean, yeah, they did right by the dude.
They did right.
But after that match too, though, that was nuts.
Hey, shout out to the brother Swerve again. Like we said, man, maybe the best performer in AEW right now, and this was a great performance by the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, ladies and gentlemen. We did it again. Thanks to everybody watching. We appreciate all the comments and the super chats. We're gonna do it again next month. Next month, programming note. Next month we are planning to have a big show, our annual wrap up end of the year in December. So we're looking to get Rich Fan on the program. We're looking to get our good brothers Phil Lindsay and Righteous Reg back in the building. Sid from True Hill Heat. Maybe we'll have some new people as well. You never know. But we're gonna send out some invites to the crew and bring them in for a good old fashioned Christmas kickback, holiday kickback. So that's gonna be next month on the NWA podcast. But in terms of this month, we done. We didn't hit that 3 hour and 40-minute mark.
Almost 4 hours.
Give or take. We gave you your money's worth. You can't say you didn't get your money's worth because you didn't pay anything. But this episode is free. But we appreciate y'all for listening and watching, and we're going to do it again next month. So, for Kris, shout out to John and Wade, too. I didn't shout out the proprietors of Post Wrestling, the founders of the Feast, John Pollock and Wade Ting. Shout out to them good brothers for giving us the platform to get out here and have some serious conversations and get silly and get wild every single month. Shout out to Righteous Reg, the aforementioned Righteous Reg, for the greatest theme song in the history of wrestling podcast. And most importantly, you, the customer, or in this case, the listener, the viewer. the postmark. We thank y'all for watching, and we're gonna do it again next month. So, and I'm not dragging this out for just to drag it out. I'm actually trying to find like the theme song. So there's a method to the madness. I know Wade's sitting there looking at his audacity like every single month. I'm about to put him on a minutes restriction like LeBron. Y'all can't play the whole game no more. We gonna put you on a load management like Kawhi.
Let me go ahead and get it started. I'm about to start singing the theme song. We just play the jump.
We just gonna do it a cappella. We'll do it live.
It's Righteous Reg.
It's a case for the
that shit hard, bro. I ain't even gonna lie.
Unfiltered. I think my favorite part is like unfiltered, off kilter.
Yeah.
Post wrestling, the NWA top merch t-shirt. The views and expressions. That's a great song. Shout out to Reg, man. Shout out to Reg. But shout out again to everybody watching and listening. We done. I found what I was looking for. So for Ray, 10-Day Ray, Raymondo Williams, for the good sister Chinyere Okafor. Again, your new host for the Spinning Blackfist podcast. For Ray, for Chinyere, for the nephew, Andrew Thompson, the youngest in charge, and of course, for the true main eventer of the NWA podcast.
You was a hating ass motherfucker, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Oh my God.
The Professor Kris Ealy. I am the Godfather, Nate Milton. And remember, we need to get some NWA merch as well. I'm thinking about that. So like the next time Swerve breaks into somebody's house, he can throw an NWA shirt on the baby. That's when we know we made it, fellas. For Kris, for Andrew, for Chinyere, for Ray. I am the Godfather, Nate Milton. And remember, the revolution may not be podcasted. No, damn, I screwed it up. Let's take two. Rewind that.
That was that hating in your blood. But
no, like that outro was the night one outro. I'm about to give y'all the night two outro. And remember, the revolution may not be televised, but it damn sure will be podcasted. Happy holidays. We'll see y'all in December.
Yo, it's Righteous Reg. It's a case for the safe, keep a space for the Nubians. Unfiltered, off kilter, the professor, the Godfather, post wrestling the N.W.A. Not keep guessing, The views and expressions, you know the rest. It's pod excellence, get the message. Advocates for Nubian wrestling, you're listening to the best again. Black wrestling in the ring, we invested in. Nubian kings and queens, we invested in. It's for the culture and we reppin' it. It's for the culture and we reppin' it.